Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
Hey, remember how 20 years ago I switched to Progressive? Well, now it's the future, and I used all those savings to buy this new hologram phone. Because, it's the future, and everything is holograms now.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
Have to break it to you. I normally record this show pantsless.
And Rich Crage.
My God, just play along with it. It's wrestling, man. Just let yourself go for a minute. And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you?
How are you?
Not too bad. The sound of Billy Corgan playing another side. I've heard a lot of Billy Corgan over the last few days. I've had enough Billy Corgan, I think, for the last few days. So I'm William Patrick Corbin out personally, but
that's too bad because we do have 31 matches to break down.
6 hours, 7. I think it was 7. What was the total count? I think the night 2 video file was 3 hours and 21 minutes, and I want to say night 1 was somewhere in that same range, maybe 3:30. So up to over 6.5, maybe right under 7 hours worth of William Patrick Corbin's National Wrestling Alliance that we have to talk about.
No, they were well over. Both shows were well over 3 hours without the pre-show. So.
Oh, the pre-show. I didn't watch that either. The
I didn't watch the pre-shows either.
I had enough. Trust me. I know what the bit is. Oh, Richie, I'm not watching though. I watched more than enough National Wrestling Alliance over the last few days. So yeah.
Listen, I was there 7:00 sharp both nights doing my due diligence, but it was a lot to ask to get me to show up at 6 on YouTube to watch the pre-shows on top of everything else. But we have an interesting show here because we're going live on Wednesday this week. Tomorrow is TLB's birthday, which was the reason for that. So Rich was gracious enough to move it a day. It'll be Wednesday next week as well because next Thursday is Rams-Bills, of course. So no chance in hell I was doing a show.
You're kidding me. But, all right, well, that's fine. That's fine. Whatever.
But Dynamite is on right now, and we still don't know, as we do this show live, what the All Out main event is. I presume we will know what the All Out main event is by the time we get to that portion of the All Out preview. So, also, Rich, what's interesting here is the Serena Williams match is on, and on Monday, of course. And for people who don't know, she's playing her final ever tennis tournament, U.S. Open.
So is this it tennis wise, or is this just the last U.S. Open, or is this it?
No, this is her last tennis tournament.
Okay. Because I saw a lot of people say, "Oh, this is her last U.S. Open," and I was like, I mean, that's a big deal, obviously, but this is it. We're done.
No, she's done.
Okay.
So on Monday, her first round match drew 2.7 million viewers and a packed house of 25,000 at Arthur Ashe Stadium. So her second round match is happening as we speak. It's another 25,000 plus in the building. And this is going head to head with Dynamite. So Raw still pulled a very good, an excellent rating actually on Monday head to head with Serena. But historically, cultural events have affected AEW programming more than they have affected WWE programming. That's something that we talk about a lot. And this would qualify as a cultural event. 2.7 million viewers Monday. I'm sure there's going to be more tonight for the second round match. So it's going to be interesting to see how much this affects the Dynamite number, if at all. I mean, this is like the unknown, but just based on past cultural events really taking a chunk out of Dynamite, I think it's going to. And as I speak right now, it is 7:45. We're not quite an hour into the Dynamite show, and the Serena match is in the middle of the second set, and she won the first set. She's down 2 breaks in the second set, so it looks like we're going to 3 sets. This thing can go almost the full length of Dynamite.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. It looks like it might be, unless something dramatically changes. It might be pretty quickly. And what might happen too is you might get people that as the night goes on and they find out that Serena's having a barn burner here, this might be it, this might be your last chance, like might start tuning in and switching over to that match. And myself included, I'm watching Dynamite here, but I do have a remote that I think I might ESPN. What are we talking about, Joe? ESPN for this?
Yeah, it's ESPN.
Okay, all right.
Now, she's going to lose this second set. She's down 2 breaks, so don't waste your time now. But, I'll let you know when the third set starts.
Please do.
But,
please do.
But, this was Tony Khan's worst nightmare. Number one, Serena winning on Monday. That was bad news. First part of the bad news. Second part is this was not a neat and tidy 49-minute 6-1, 6-love victory for somebody here. This is going 3 sets. And this might take up, this is without question going into deep into the second hour of Dynamite. So this is really worst case scenario. So we'll have to see tomorrow because this is going to be a ratings monster. Either way, we'll have to see. I mean, I suspect this will hurt the Dynamite number, just because this isn't just a run-of-the-mill U.S. Open tennis match. This is a cultural event. This could be the last time that Serena Williams ever plays tennis professionally, so people are into this.
Yeah. For a whole generation, I mean, she is women's tennis. More than anybody else. It's for people. I mean, really, I grew up a few years, and I don't watch it as much. I know you watch a little bit more than me, and there's definitely listeners that probably watch it more. But, I was in the tail end of the Steffi Graf eras, the tail end of, that whole kind of 80s, 90s generation. I was I kind of grew up. I am kind of that generation that the only thing we know in terms of, tennis dominance is Serena, really. I mean, that's it. So, yeah, for a lot of people. And she's broken through in a lot of other ways as well. I mean, there's a lot of people that aren't real big fans of tennis that know her from various things, know her from, doing different, she's fashion and media and all that sort of stuff. So she has a ton of other cultural things beyond simply just she's a really, really good tennis player.
I mean, let's be honest. She's one of the biggest sports stars of all time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's not overstating it. I mean, and clearly
easily one of the biggest women. Yeah, easily one of the biggest women sports
if
stars.
Not the biggest female
yeah.
sports
I mean,
star.
a real argument for sure.
In terms of this generation, I mean, there's Serena Williams, there's Tiger Woods, there's LeBron, there's Tom Brady. I mean, that's the era she's in. Yeah. That's the rare era that she's in. That she's that level of superstar. So yeah, this is a huge cultural event just to show you. How big this is for ESPN and for tennis. Win or lose tonight, and she's now down 5-1 in the second set. Win or lose tonight, tomorrow night, prime time, Arthur Ashe Stadium, 7 p.m. Eastern, it's Serena and Venus playing doubles.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
So they are ESPN is going to give you, they are going to milk.
Yeah.
They're going to milk every last ounce out of Serena Williams because, even a doubles match, and nobody cares about doubles tennis, but even Serena in a doubles match is going to outdraw whatever else they could put in that, the opening match of the night session of Arthur Ashe, which is where you want to be, which is where they're going to put their, that's where they're going to book their top draw every night of the tournament, the opening night, the opening session of the night. The opening match of the night session of the Arthur Ashe. So, and she's going to be in that as long as she's alive in both the singles and the doubles. So, so we'll see how that affects the Dynamite rating. I feel like it's going to take a chunk because also that 18 to 49. I mean, that's
that generation that we're talking
Serena
about.
Wheelhouse.
Yeah,
that generation is going to, people who don't normally watch tennis, I think, are going to be locked into this. To see this cultural icon potentially play her last match. And from the U.S. Open's perspective and from ESPN's perspective, I mean, the deeper she goes, the better it is for everybody because if she were to ever make like that Jimmy Connors 1991 kind of run, where he went all the way he was at 38 years old, he went to the semifinals of the U.S. Open in 91. Just utterly ridiculous. If she were to ever make a run like that, I mean, you know, the numbers that some of those quarterfinal and semifinal matches will put up will be, you know, some of the biggest tennis ratings you'll ever see. So we'll see. She's running out of gas here. I don't really like her chances in this third set, but, you know, maybe I just mushed the 2-seed Kontavet, the Estonian, here by saying that. We'll have to see.
What's her name?
But Kontavet.
Okay.
I can't pronounce. She's Estonian.
Is she from? Oh, she's from Estonia. I thought her name was Estonia. I was like, oh,
no, I said the Estonian.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I thought that was all one name, and it was like Kontavet's the Estonia, and I was like, that's a cool name. So
that's like a gimmick name, right?
Yeah,
like wrestling.
Yeah, it's like I like it. It's a Chikara.
The Estonian Thunder Frog. Chikara, right?
Yeah, that one's definitely wrestling in Camp Leapfrog or whatever. So,
I mean, she's the 2-seed, but a lot of people think she's overseeded. She hasn't played well lately. She's coming off of long COVID, so that's never good.
No, not for tennis. Yeah. You like your lungs. You like having strong lungs when you play tennis. So yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, but Serena's dragging ass out there. She's gassed. Her game at this point, she's 40 years old. She's 100% power. She doesn't move well. She doesn't have any stamina. So she's smashing a lot of balls right into the net because her game at this point is just hit the ball as hard as I can. And she was dragging ass at the end of the first set. She did win the tiebreak to win the set. Otherwise, we'd be packing this thing up, you know, in a couple minutes here. But she seems to be running out of gas. The other girl is younger, fitter. Just to give perspective, this is the number 2 seed in this tournament. Serena's current ranking is 407.
Oh.
So she's won coming into this tournament. She had won one match all year. This really is the end. This is the end. You know, great career, maybe the greatest female tennis player of all time.
I didn't realize it had gotten so bad, but well.
And she's 40 years old.
She's 40, yeah. I was gonna say she is 40, and my entire adult life she's been great. So like, I guess that's fair. That at some point, you know, since like what 1999, I want to say 98. Didn't she? No, she won. Oh man, like 98, right? Isn't it when she? I'm trying to remember. I used to watch a lot more tennis when I was growing up. That was back in the day. I would watch every sport, man. I'd watch every single thing. But like you always say, like Bill Simmons says, as you get older, you kind of have to lop them off. And like I'm basically I'm like half baseball and only basketball at this point. I can't really watch anything else. I'll check in with some other stuff every so often here and there. But yeah, it's very, very loose.
Yeah. That's because you're an adult.
Yeah,
and you just don't have time for the other shit.
But she was like 98, 99. I want to say when she first got onto the scene, if I remember correctly. You'd probably know a little bit better.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I mean, you know, she's been playing forever. She's 40, so she probably, you know, late teens is probably when, you know, she broke through. So your math adds up. She won her first slam. She won the U.S. Open in '99. So you're dead on.
There we go. Okay, yeah.
That was her first Grand Slam.
I seem to remember that. Like, I mean, that was man, 1999. That era. If you weren't alive. You know, like 98, 99 was like, there was such crazy, like, great sports things and athletes, and like, because you had Michael Jordan retiring in 1999, and right around that same time, Tiger's emerging as like Tiger. You know what I mean? Where if you weren't alive for that, if you're like, people know Tiger now, and he just kind of like moseys on over, and you know, he's kind of, everyone's like, oh, Tiger, I don't know, this might be, yeah, he looks pretty good, and then you know, the second day he's kind of not quite there, and he falls off, or you know, he's like one over and going into the second day, and people are like, I don't know, he could get on a run, and it's like he's probably not going to get on a run, guys. Like, just like let it go. But if you weren't alive for like the Tiger thing when that was a thing, I mean that it's,
well, it was Sunday Tiger.
Yeah, it was nuts. I mean, that was an event. Like, you had to be there. Like, you know, my parents never watched golf. They fucking watched every Sunday at like 2 p.m. or whatever. They put it on, and we'd just all sit there and watch. And then Tiger would just do amazing things. Seemingly every single week, every single month, and all these huge moments. And yeah, you had that coming up around the, you know, 97, 98, 99, right around the same time Serena Williams is coming up and doing her stuff. So there was a lot of like young, like, oh my God, these are like going to be the greatest athletes ever. And they all pretty much did it. You know what I mean? Like, they all kind of sustained. I mean, Tiger obviously has had his issues over the last, 10 years or whatever, but he was so far ahead of the pack. And yeah, he ultimately will not finish as like, I don't think you can call him the greatest golfer ever just because he tailed off so much towards the end, but goddamn,
no,
he's
he didn't
right
get
there.
It looked like he was going to smash the record.
Oh, by like 2003, you were like, well, I mean, he's going to waltz, he's going to moonwalk past, Nicholson and Palmer and all those guys. I mean, look where he was at. And he was like 27 years old and he was already like one of the most accomplished golfers ever. And then, yeah, this.
Well, it was that Thanksgiving weekend 2009 when his wife chased him with the golf club and he backed the car into the mailbox. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, that was it. That was the moment
since.
where it all kind of went down.
He won that Masters a couple of years ago, but he's obviously not going to catch Nicholas now, but he's actually at this match. They showed him a million times.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Sitting there.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, that's nice because they really did come into their own at the same time and became
they really did.
icons at the same time. So
yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, the two of them, and if you want to throw Brady in there too, because he won his first Super Bowl in that was Super Bowl 36, 2000.
I didn't want to remind you that was it. Yeah, I didn't want to.
I'm over my Brady. Look, we
okay. Oh, you
Brady
beat him.
out.
You beat him. That's right. You beat him. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. You're good now.
We knocked him out last year in heartbreaking fashion, and then won the Super Bowl.
Okay, so, I'm always sensitive about talking about Brady around you. So
fuck him. Now
2001,
we'll never be able
is when he won it. So
yeah, now 2001 season the game was played
2002
January
in 2002. Yeah.
But now we'll never be able to get him in the Super Bowl. He got us twice in the Super Bowl, and we won't be able to get him in the Super Bowl, obviously, unless he does go to Miami next year. And,
anything is possible with TB12, man. You never know.
Yeah, but I feel last year was a lot of good closure for that because we didn't just beat him; we ripped his heart out because they came back from that huge deficit and at home.
So you were on suicide watch there for a little bit.
I was on suicide watch, and then
we were all like earnestly. If people think we're joking, like because Joe really hates Tom Brady, like it despises Tom Brady, and was so happy when they were like, beating the hell out of him, and he was like, go fucking retire, you piece of crap, like all this, and then little by little, fucking TB12 is just slowly coming back.
That's the thing. It wasn't even him.
I know, but everybody says it's no matter what. It doesn't matter if he does it or not. It's like Tom Brady magic. It's the classic.
It was this catastrophic series of events: snaps over the quarterback's head, fumbles, and then they did tie the game, and then Stafford the Cup with 10 seconds left. I don't know how he got behind everybody, but and then we broke his heart. We ripped his heart out and stomped all over it, and then we won the Super Bowl. So I'm not as. I still hate the guy. Don't get me wrong, but
you're not.
By the way,
the thing is gone. The phobia is gone. Yeah,
a little bit of it's gone because I feel like we finally overcame him and then won a Super Bowl. So I'd like to get him in a Super Bowl, but that's highly unlikely at this point. It's 1-1, by the way, and we're starting the third set.
Okay. Well, I will butt in to tell you that Mr. Phil Brooks is in the ring right now. I can't exactly hear what he's saying, obviously, because I'm doing this show, and Ace Steel is in the ring talking to him as well. So we presumably will have some sort of clarity on the All Out event. He looks very solemn, but yeah, this is the time where I think maybe the chat room you might be allowed to spoil.
You got to help us out.
Yeah,
help us out. Let us know what that main event is for All Out.
Because I don't want to play the audio while we're on the air because that's weird and maybe copyright infringement. So we're not going to do that. So I'm trying to interpret. Phil does not look happy. I'll tell you that. He looks very depressed and solemn, and Ace is either. I don't know, talk him off the ledge, or I don't know. I'm not going to interpret what's going on here anymore. But No Dopes chat room, this is your time to shine. You can finally spoil us on Dynamite. You all always want to when we do the Wednesday flagships. Now this is your time. So you can do it.
Fucking Sean Cedar.
Not even here this time. He knew he couldn't resist, but now we need him.
Yeah. Right. This would have been exactly. This would have been his time to spoil everything. But we're accepting spoilers in the chat, and because we need to be able to properly preview this All Out show. So that's what's going on with Serena and the potential implications on the Dynamite rating tomorrow. We'll see how that shakes out. And then this weekend, a packed wrestling weekend. In addition to All Out, we have the NXT 2.0 Worlds Collide, where they will be unifying all the NXT UK and NXT championships. So we'll preview that show. Of course, there's what's it called? Mutiny at the Castle or whatever the fuck.
Mutiny at the Castle is a different event, but Clash at the Castle is this one. Clash at the Castle. For those who don't know, that's going to be on September 1st at 1 p.m. So I think, is that fucking thing tomorrow? Are we previewing a show that will be airing? Yes, I guess we are. Is that really September 3rd? I don't know why I have September 1st. September 3rd.
This weekend.
At 1 p.m. This weekend. I'm thinking, why are they running this on a Thursday? Yeah, that was my fault.
Saturday.
On Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern for Clash at the Castle. Live on the Peacock Premium Live event.
So 3 huge pro wrestling events this weekend. Then we'll, of course, as we talked about at the top, review the NWA 74th anniversary shows, which I think are still happening. I'm not sure those are over yet.
No, Black G's just came out, so I think we're at the main event, so we have a few minutes. But
we're on Scion match number 6.
We're cutting another promo. Matt Cardona is in the ring cutting a promo. I cannot wait to see what he's got to say about this. So yeah, we once we get through this promo and the next 4 matches, the show will be over, and we can finally preview or review 74th as well. So.
We'll briefly discuss some of the indie shows happening in Chicago All Out weekend, and then we haven't talked any All Japan Royal Road at all, and that tournament is now over. And we haven't talked any Noah N1 yet either, and that's in progress, and actually the finals are set and all that. So we will finally get to discuss both of those tournaments a bit as well at the end of this show, but I think we need to start with AEW. I assume that we're solidifying the main event as we speak. The chat room will
Phil Brooks looks pretty happy, and he's holding the contract, and everybody's cheering. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Chick Magnet Punk and John Moxley will be at All Out, but we'll wait to make that official. But he is in the crowd cutting a promo when everybody's screaming and going nuts. So believe it or not, he is not in the mud. People still like him in Chicago, despite everybody saying that he wouldn't be over anymore. And yeah, it appears that he is probably going to face Moxley, but I'll wait till the graphic comes up or the NoDope chat room listens. But he appears much happier than he was a couple minutes ago. So
yeah. Serena up 1, love in the third, but these sets don't start till somebody goes up a break. We all know that. So
yes,
keep an eye on that.
We all know that. And we all know that. Yes, everybody who knows.
Well, I mean, I don't know. If they're just hold and serve, there's no news to report here. Until somebody goes up a break, then we have nothing to talk about until they go to a tiebreaker or something. So, and actually,
Joe, Phil Brooks is signing the contract. I believe it is official for All Out. It'll be Mox versus CM Punk. He has signed the contract. He's ready to go. All right, so we can preview that part of the show. We got that. I feel much better now. So, all right.
Well, yeah, it's because you were very anxious about not having the whole card. And I told you we'd have it, but by the time we got
I kind of thought, I don't know if Tony's a wild man some days. You never know. So, but he decided to go with that. So, all right. So we got that. So we can now officially mostly preview all of All Out. But yeah, as you said, we're gonna talk about the stuff going on All Out weekend. Indies as well throughout the weekend. Real quickly, we'll touch on those. Some other shows happening in the Chicagoland area. Not a whole lot of there used to be really good piggyback shows. I don't know if that's a lost arts these days. Well, I guess I don't want to do another like the Indie Suck thing, but we'll talk briefly about them because
here's the thing.
I'm not going to any of these. I don't believe I'm going to any of these. Maybe AEW. That's a TBD on the AEW. The other one's zero desire to go to anything else. So
I mean, we don't even discuss Game Changer Wrestling at all on this show anymore. We stopped discussing Game Changer Wrestling, maybe even a year ago? We haven't talked about Game Changer Wrestling in a long time.
Yeah, other than I think we officially after the Hammerstein we were done. Like that was pretty much
Yeah. That one we had to talk about. But I mean, and they're running a bunch of shows, obviously. I feel like they run every 10 minutes. But Game Changer kind of just hit a point for us where we weren't enjoying it. We both kind of think it's kind of a trashy promotion. And at that point, it's like, why are we going to talk about this? If we're not interested, the listener won't be interested. And that doesn't mean that we don't have listeners that are interested in Game Changer Wrestling. But if we're talking about a topic that we're not interested in, our audio is going to stink. So it basically joined the pile with, what happened with Chikara. Maybe for long time listeners, about a decade back, we used to talk about Chikara all the time, and then we both just lost interest in Chikara, and we just dropped it from the rotation. So that's kind of what's happened with Game Changer. It essentially doesn't exist on this podcast. And a lot of the other promotions running are game changer adjacent, your BLPs and things like that. And those are promotions I really don't have any interest in. But we'll briefly go over.
Happening. Yeah, it's happening. So at least we'll for people that
if you are coming match or anything. But,
no. Yeah, I'll probably just briefly talk about the shows and a few of the matches. But yeah, if you're coming in this weekend for All Out and you want to catch some extra wrestling, there's plenty for you. All across the Chicagoland area. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on this weekend. It's a big wrestling weekend. And I think it's time for us to jump into it and preview it. So let's talk about All Out. Obviously, this Sunday, AEW, we now know the main event official. It is going to be Jon Moxley versus CM Punk, the rematch from Dynamite. And now that leads to a very interesting question: is how do you structure this match? How do you do this match this time? Is it does Punk sell the foot for a little bit, but then Moxley, then he's able to recover through it? Does he Superman through it? Because you're going to have, the central point of what we saw a couple weeks ago or last week was that Punk's foot is just completely ravaged and is not healthy at all, and he isn't quite there. You now need to kind of work around that, which I think is going to be a fun way to work the match. But how do you, Joe, how would you kind of structure this match if you were sitting down with these guys and saying, all right, here's the best way to probably do this match to make it work the best?
Well, keep in mind, obviously we're not watching the go home, and I don't know what's happening or how the story is progressing, but I think you have to build it around the foot to some extent. The foot has to have something to do with all this, right? You
can't just have him it can't be a CM Punk versus Jon Moxley match normal. You just had a week ago where this guy could not stand. It couldn't continue a match and just lost in a couple of minutes. That has to be a central thing of Punk either gutting through it or it being a central part of the match or him selling it the entire time. It's got to be part of it. It has to be one of the biggest parts of the match. And I guess, the other, big question too is that, do you use this to solidify Jon Moxley, or is this possibly a switch to CM Punk? To win the title back, you probably didn't want CM Punk to lose the title, initially. Obviously, he was going to lose it eventually at some point, but I don't think, a couple months after he won it was the plan. I think he was probably slated to have the title for a little bit longer, but yeah, I don't know. Do you? I could see both ways. I don't know that I have, I like Jon Moxley as champion. I think he's a great champion, but we've kind of been down that road. We have had the Jon Moxley championship thing. We haven't had the full CM Punk championship thing, so I don't know, but it feels weird to go back to Punk and take the title off Moxley so quickly, but I don't know. That it really leads me to going into a main event where I have absolutely no idea, and that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, again, disclaimer: haven't watched Dynamite. It's on right now, but to me, it feels like a coin flip match at this point. As I said last week, I still feel like it feels like a hot match because the way that they did the title unification or whatever you want to call it, the interim thing, we didn't really get the match yet. We got a 3-minute squash. So it was an angle disguised as a match and all those sorts of things. So I do think that the match still feels hot to me. I think the pay-per-view will do well. It's obviously not going to match what it did last year. This is going to be the first AEW pay-per-view that does not have growth year over year. Bad faith actors and people who just don't do good analysis will probably make a big deal out of that. But the reality is we know that that's not a big deal because last year's was just a special. It's an exception. It wasn't a usual pay-per-view. It was one of the biggest pay-per-views that could have been done with CM Punk's, return to the ring and all of that. So, they're not going to top last year, but I still think they're going to do a very strong number. I think that the way that Tony Khan is talking, I feel like he has some tricks up his sleeve, and I feel like it's probably going to be a shockingly great show. So, and most AEW pay-per-views are great. They've had some of the greatest in their 3-year history. They've had some of the greatest pay-per-views in the history of wrestling. So they do pay-per-view well. And I think this one will be great. And this main event feels hot to me. It also feels like a coin flip match. It's an intriguing match for the reasons you stated too, because, we don't know what's going to happen. It's hard to really put a finger on who's going to win this thing and how this thing's going to go. So I'm into it.
Yeah, I am as well. And, just watching the promo, on mute or whatever, watching the segment, the crowd was going absolutely apeshit for it. It looked like a really passionate CM Punk promo. Moxley, I saw his promo at the beginning of Dynamite, and I texted a few friends and was like, hey, how's this go? And every single one of them was like, oh, and they were the same way. They were like a lot of the other people saying, I don't know, like I'm kind of down. It's not, I don't know if it's quite all to a man. Every single one of them was like, dude, I can't wait. Oh, Sunday's going to be fucking awesome. Sunday's going to be great. So they're all in. Everybody that I've been seeing, I did a cursory look online, and it seems like people are very excited about what they were presented on this Go Home show. So believe it or not, Jon Moxley, CM Punk, people do want to watch that match happen again. And like you said, we didn't get a proper match last week. And I thought that there was probably value in holding CM Punk off, or kind of holding this match off for a little bit. But if you're going to do it now, and shit, why not? If both guys are healthy and both guys are able to do it, and it's in Chicago, it definitely makes all the sense in the world to do it, here at All Out. But yeah, it seems like everyone's pretty damn excited about what's happening here. So yeah, I'm with you too. I'm still super excited about that match, because we never got a proper match. We never got a proper Punk versus Moxley match, and I'm just fascinated now to see how they work around the injury. I think they're two smart workers. They're two smart wrestlers. AEW's too smart. I know. And that's kind of has me excited that we might not get like the perfect or the best, Jon Moxley CM Punk match, but we might get a really passionate match. We might get a match that's really got a lot of storytelling in it, a lot of nuance and intricacies and all that sort of stuff. And that really, really sounds cool to me. So I'm in. I'm in. That sounds pretty awesome.
Serena up a break. She's up 2-love. She's got a chance.
Uh-oh.
She's serving up a break. So this is definitely going to eat almost the entire second hour of Dynamite, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
especially now that like Punk and Mox is done, because if you were watching to figure out what the All Out main event is,
yeah,
and you then immediately after that, so you have Punk get out of the ring, go to commercial, they come back, and it's Wardlow and FTR versus Silas Young, Ice Pick Vic Capri, and Ren Jones. So I love that match. That's right up my alley, my man Ice Pick Vic Capri. But I'd imagine most of the viewing audience, if you have an inkling that Serena Williams is having her last tennis match ever, you may bail pretty quickly after that.
Yeah, and they'd be switching over with her attempting to go up 3-love, and then they're probably going to just stick with it at that point.
Yes, yeah.
To see it out to the end. So. Yeah, I think the Dynamite rating is going to be hurt dramatically by this. So the rest of this all-out show, I think we know everything with the exception of the finals of the trios.
Right,
so,
yeah. We will presumably have that. Well, we should have that in the next... Well, no, we won't know the full final.
Half of it.
Well, we'll know half of it. But yeah, let's do it. So we have a pre-show match just announced a couple of days ago, ensuring that I have to get there early, and I will indeed watch the pre-show. Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Kingston. That came out of nowhere, but I'm in.
Yeah. So because of all the drama last week, we lost the Kingston-Sammy Guevara match that probably would have happened at this show. Guevara, to this point, is not booked, but I suppose he can be the Joker in the Casino Ladder match, or maybe they'll put something together tonight or on Friday for him. But we get Kingston, Tomohiro Ishii. I'd rather see that than Kingston versus Sammy Guevara anyway.
Yeah, it sounds like an upgrade. So, honestly, to me, I'm definitely okay with that.
Yeah. So, and that for now, that's the only. They're not calling this one the buy-in. They're calling it 0 Hour. Now we saw 0 Hour. They were calling it 0 Hour for the ROH pay-per-views. So maybe now that they have the rights to that name or whatever, they're just going to call all of their pre-shows 0 Hour. Or 0 Hour was the name of the. Okay, here's what it was.
That was the All In. It was the first All In
yes.
thing, which, obviously technically was Ring of Honor, but now what was technically
That's
Ring of
what I mean.
Honor is now AEW, kind of, sort of.
Right, so they have the rights to that now.
Right.
So they may just, I don't know if they're just using that for All Out because it was used for All In, or if they're just going to drop the buy-in. Who knows? But this one's called 0 Hour, and I presume they're going to add stuff to it. They very rarely just do one match, and their pre-shows have been pretty good lately, to be honest. Remember how bad their pre-shows used to be with the librarians and all this other sort of bullshit?
And shit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just awful. And, now they're what you really want to do with a pre-show is create the old FOMO for people that haven't ordered yet. Show them a hot crowd, give them some hot action, and make people think, man, I've got to plunk down my $50 and do an impulse buy so I don't miss this thing. And you're not going to do that with Peter Avalon and Leva Bates.
Right. No.
The other assorted nonsense they used to do. So,
Joe, can you give me a couple minutes here to preview another match? I will be right back. Is that okay?
All right. So Rich is going to go take a shit or something. So that's the pre-show match, the 0 hour match. Some of the other bouts on the card. We've got, of course, Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage. That's been a well-built, long-term feud. These guys are finally going to mix it up. I thought maybe they wouldn't touch until the pay-per-view. That wasn't the case. Jungle Boy put a beating on Christian Cage a couple of weeks ago on Dynamite, and they'll finally get in the ring one-on-one. Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, kind of in the same boat as the Jungle Boy Christian Cage match, and that we have a well-built feud. Powerhouse Hobbs, of course, turning on Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks doing the tremendous promo on last week's Dynamite where, he was moved to tears with how passionate he was about wanting to get his hands on Powerhouse Hobbs. And now Starks jumped on Rampage by The Factory, and Hobbs seemed pleased with that on Friday, so that adds a little heat to the match here as well. So Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs. I would expect Ricky Starks to win that. If Hobbs wins, perhaps they'll extend the feud a couple more months. But ultimately, I think Starks has to come out of this feud on top. Same thing with Jungle Boy Christian. I mean, Jungle Boy has to come out of that feud on top. That doesn't necessarily mean he has to win on this show. But AEW isn't the kind of promotion that typically will do, 3-match series, so to speak, with guys. They usually, give you the one match, that's the blow off, and that's that. But at the end of the day, Jungle Boy and Ricky Starks are going to have to go over on these opponents. The TBS title match is going to be Jade Cargill versus Athena.
I'm back, by the way, now. So it was a dog issue. I wish I had to take a shit, but it was just a dog issue. So dog decided to throw up his entire dinner. So yeah.
So we're talking about Jade Cargill and Athena for the TBS title. I do not think Athena will be the one to knock off Cargill.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I don't know where you are on Jade and this TBS title, but I think it's been real clunky lately. I just haven't been into it very much, and Cargill's felt like she's been kind of a non-factor for what feels like a couple of weeks now, or maybe even a couple of months. I mean, it might be like a whole month at this point where she just does not feel. And even going back to when she started up with Stokely, it's just it's the same thing every single week, and it's seemingly, I don't know. I'm kind of down on. I don't know if I'm down on her or the title or what it is, but it hasn't exactly done much for me lately.
It's the same thing every week, and cut the shit, Tony, and at least on Rampage though they had one of the baddies kind of speak out of turn, and Jade was. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. Yeah. I guess we're there. To be fair, she hasn't wrestled. I mean, she wrestled the Madison Rain match. That was already a month or so. The 10th, August 10th. And then before that, it was all the way in July. So she just hasn't been wrestling very often either. So she's kind of there. But yeah, maybe that's why the title feels down, because it just does not feel like a very, well-defended or important title in the company right now.
I think Athena has been better than I thought she'd be since she came into the company, particularly on the microphone, where she was instant death in NXT. So maybe that speaks to the idea that some people are just more comfortable when they don't have to memorize a script.
Right, when she could just be her. And like, her promos are not, I mean, she's not going to talk you in the building. She's not Ric Flair. She's not talking in the building. Right. But she's good at being herself and talking in sentences, and then that's it. Like, they're very quick. They're not long promos, but yeah, maybe that's, because man, you're right. Those NXT promos, she'd be like, and then I'm gonna go and face you. It felt so bad. Yeah. So
nervous.
Yeah, very, very nervous, clearly thinking the entire time while she's talking. So, it definitely chalk one up for, let people just be themselves and talk how they talk, and you'll probably get better results.
And maybe some people work better being told what to say. But
sure, everybody's different. There are numerous people that are probably better with scripts than without. But, you have to know that and work to the people's strengths and not just have one way to do things is probably the best way to do it, so.
All right, so the Acclaimed get a tag team title shot against Swerve and Our Glory. I know the Acclaimed are red hot in the buildings. This doesn't feel like the right time to take the titles off of Strickland and lead them.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Do you subscribe to? And I saw a lot of people saying this. Like, do you subscribe to like why are FTR not in this title mix? Like, why are they not getting a chance at the title? Why are they not like? I guess I kind of see that because it's like, hey, here's this team that has every other tag team title in the world that always wins all their matches, and then the Acclaimed are getting the tag team title shot. It's funky. It's a little weird.
I just think that, look, I know Brian Last and Jim Cornette are trying to drum up controversy on that front and everything.
Oh, for the record, I don't know what they're.
Well,
I'm independent of one Jim.
Well,
Cornette.
Rich, there's a reason that we haven't talked about that for a single second on this show. I don't give a shit what Brian Last or Jim Cornette have to say about anything. I don't trust them. But the way I see it, I don't mind at FTR. Look, I thought we were headed towards FTR versus the Bucks for everything.
Right.
Then the Bucks lost the titles. But FTR are doing great things. They hold 3 different sets of tag team titles. They're going to go to New Japan to defend those IWGP belts very soon. I don't have any issue with the way. Look, if you have a problem with the way that FTR has been pushed this year, I don't know what you want.
I did see some of that where it's like they haven't been, here's a few random pay-per-views that they were either not on or in like insignificant matches, and it's like, yeah, but in between all those, they were in like major matches and won all of them. Like, what are you talking about?
You can't push a tag team any harder.
They have every title. They have every tag team title, and they win every match.
Yeah, you can't push a tag team any harder than they've been pushed. There's no complaints on that front. The tweet you're talking about, and it was just from a rando, and I don't want to pick on this rando, but they went over the last 4 pay-per-views and how they weren't on 3 of them and lost to the Lucha Brothers on the 4th, but they conveniently left out winning the IWGP tag team titles at Forbidden Door.
Right, that's an important
And
one.
they conveniently left out 2 main events on the ROH pay-per-views that were match of the year contenders.
Right.
And legitimate main events.
Yeah, and are important in this canon, like, because it's, it's similar companies at this point.
Because what we're seeing a lot, I think what we're seeing a lot, and I see this even with certain pundits as well, if it's ROH, it like doesn't count to them, or it's just getting in the way of AEW. Like, it's just, what's the big deal? Why do they get so wound up about ROH stuff? I think it's cool. I think it's objectively cool that they can weave the ROH canon into the AEW canon and weave the canon and have FTR win these other companies.
Yeah, well, weave New Japan canon, weave wrestling canon into it, because I think that, again, we talk about this all the time. There's a generation that was just brought up on one single way to do wrestling. So to WWE, unless it's happening in their company, it doesn't exist and it doesn't matter and it's stupid and it's dumb and it's the minor leagues and it's not the big times or whatever. Whereas AEW is like, no, you need to take in totality all of wrestling. So FTR winning the New Japan, winning the IWGP tag team titles in New Japan, that counts. That means something. Them having great matches in Ring of Honor, that means something. That counts. Them doing this, in AAA, that matters. That counts. And to a lot of wrestling fans, a whole generation of wrestling fans, they grew up and it didn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter because it's not in the main company. It's not in, and I think they're applying that to AEW when AEW has never applied that to them. They've always, from day one, we talked about this. We've been talking about this from the moment that they started. We talked about it from the moment they did their fucking press conference, that AEW, and they were clear about that too, that they were going to be, the wrestling world is their world. They are a part of the larger wrestling world. They are not their own independent island. They're not their own independent thing. They are, what wrestling is what they are too. Like they're all one. So yeah, there's a whole group of fans that just can't fathom that something that happens in Ring of Honor matters in AEW, and something that happens in New Japan matters in AEW. Something that happens in AAA matters in AEW. It all matters, and it all means something. And that's, I guess, too much for some corncobs to handle. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, WWE, at least up until when Vince was in charge, they didn't even acknowledge what was going on in NXT, and that was within their own company.
Yeah.
So, and that sucks. Like, that's bad.
That's stupid. Yeah, that's dumb. Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
So, and the thing about all this is, these people need, Forbidden Door was a massive critical success and a massive financial success. Sold out, blew away everyone's projections except for mine on pay-per-view. I was the only correct person. And it's time for listen. Take the fucking L. Stop saying that New Japan being involved on AEW TV is bad. Take the fucking L on Forbidden Door, please. It's over. You lost. You were all wrong. All of you were wrong. It was a massive success. They should do more New Japan in AEW. More. Which is why they're doing more on this show. They should do more ROH. They've run the two most successful ROH pay-per-views ever, with the exception of the MSG show, which we all know New Japan carried that one.
Oh, Madison Square Taven carried that one, dude. All right.
So, again, take the fucking L. These New Japan and ROH projects that they do are massive successes. Take the L, people. So, yeah, it drives you nuts. FTR couldn't be pushed any harder. It's nonsense. Speaking of FTR, we may as well talk about that. FTR and the Wardlow against Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. I think this is a weird match.
Very weird. Yeah, and has gotten more weird as the days have gone on, because, like, I don't know what we're supposed to do with the Machine Guns. Like, when they come out, am I supposed to be like, boo? Am I supposed to boo these guys or say yay? Or it's very strange. Because Wardlow and FTR are clearly like mega over uber baby faces. Jay Lethal's a very hated heel. You're not supposed to like him. He's kind of a dork, whatever. But then you have Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, and it's like, all right, what am I supposed to do with those guys?
They're pure baby faces.
Right. They're the personification of baby faces. So I'm
not saying they can't work heel here.
Oh, of course they can. I just saw Alex Shelley do it a week ago at Emergence. He worked pseudo heel. But it's still, when they come out, when that music plays and Sabin and Shelley come out, the crowd's going to go fucking nuts.
Right.
It's the Motor City Machine Guns in AEW. That rules. That's awesome. So that's got me a little conflicted. Like, why are they with Jay Lethal? It's strange. I mean, like, if you could turn your brain off for a little bit, it's like, it's fucking awesome. It's Motor City Machine Guns in AEW, and it means eventually we're going to get FTR and the Machine Guns, which is great, and I want that. But it is a very clunky, weird match. Just on paper, you're just like, what the Motor City and
weird,
Jay Lethal?
It's weird, weird psychology here.
Yeah.
It's weird psychology. There's a lot of hand-wringing about the Wardlow, too. You know, the fact that why doesn't he have a title match? Why isn't he in a major match? And I can understand that. But the thing about that is, you hear all this hand-wringing about how poorly the Wardlow has been handled, since he beat MJF, and how they're blowing the push and they're blowing it with this guy. And every time he wrestles on TV, the fucking roof blows off. So I refuse to acknowledge that criticism until he stops getting reactions. When he stops getting reactions, you could say, oh, yeah, they fucked it up. This guy wrestled a squash on Rampage, and it got the loudest reaction on the show. Crowd was going apeshit. So you can't sit here and tell me that he's losing momentum. That's objectively false. The fans are still way behind this guy.
But I don't like him as much, so he's losing. It's very strange. Yeah, the online discourse about wrestling fucking stinks. It's all terrible. So
I mean, everybody has to be doing something of ultra importance at all times, and it's like, or if not, then it's a massive failure.
And the fans have now no longer liked the guy, or no longer are into it.
Which isn't true in this case. I mean,
right, it's not.
Now, if he comes out on this pay-per-view and doesn't get any kind of reaction, then there's some validity to it. But he's going to get a monster reaction like he always does. And FTR, in terms of in front of crowds, the only, it's very small as the people who get better reactions than them. Punk. I mean, who's going to get a better reaction? Lately, who's been getting better reactions than FTR in front of live crowd?
They're right up there. They're in that upper echelon. They're in that top. Yeah, they might be. Yeah, they might, maybe Moxley. Maybe you could throw Moxley in there, but they're in that top five, solidly in the top five for sure. Solidly in the top three, I'd say.
Yes, I mean, I don't love this match in terms of, but I bet you it's a pretty good match.
Oh, I bet it's going to rock. Yeah, are you kidding? Look at those guys. Look at the names in the match. It's going to rock.
And what we got here is we're clearly setting up an FTR Motor City Machine Guns match, which, when that happens, is going to be phenomenal. So, that's that. Next up, we have, you want to do the women's? You want to do Danielson, Jericho?
Yeah, let's do the women's. Let's go down the line.
So, interim women's title, Toni Storm, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Hikaru Shida. We've talked to death about the, Thunder Rosa controversies last week, and I don't think we need to get into all that again. Presumably, at some point, she will return from her back injury and face whoever the interim champion is, whether it's the winner of this match or someone who then wins the interim title. We haven't had anybody win an interim title from an interim champion yet. They haven't done that yet in AEW. But, who knows? Rich, I'd like the floor, though, for something that I've been champing at the bit to rant about. So if you would be so kind as to give me the floor for
Absolutely.
about 90 seconds.
90.
Then,
yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
I might go a little longer,
Okay,
but
all right.
then you can chime in and either agree or disagree. So this has been driving me nuts all week, but I've seen a lot of criticism, and I'm not talking about Twitter randos and fans, because fans are going to be fans, and they don't necessarily understand, or even fans shouldn't even care about the business side of wrestling. So fans are one thing, but I've seen a very specific criticism from a lot of professional pundits and analysts and people who cover wrestling this week that has completely driven me up the wall. And the complaint is that when Thunder Rosa announced that she was injured and would not be defending her title at the pay-per-view, and that explaining her situation and that there would be an interim champion and all that, they did that in a backstage segment with, I believe, Tony Schiavone, and it got about 30 to 45 seconds or whatever. And the criticism is that CM Punk, when in the same position, was given a 15-minute quarter hour to open up a Dynamite, and how this was grossly unfair and shows and proves how Tony Khan does not care about his women's division, and how AEW as a whole doesn't give a shit about the women's division. And I cannot believe my ears when I hear people who should know better, not dopey fans on Twitter, but pundits and people who cover pro wrestling for a living. That is such a horrendous, bullshit, nonsensical take. Here's the thing. When Thunder Rosa can pull a rating, that's when Thunder Rosa gets 15-minute segments on Dynamite. This is not politics. There is no requirement for equal time. This is not a fucking charity. This is a business. This is not a soup kitchen. Okay? Thunder Rosa can barely get through a 30-second pre-tape promo without fucking something up. In fact, her pre-tape promo with Schiavone was clunky and screwed up. You cannot put Thunder Rosa in front of a crowd with a microphone in a ring for 15 minutes the way you can CM Punk, because she simply cannot perform at that level with the microphone. Besides the fact that it's going to tank the quarter hour because it's Thunder Rosa. Okay? CM Punk is a legitimate business draw, the biggest draw in the company, and one of the greatest stickmen in the history of professional wrestling. That's someone you hand a microphone and put in a ring for a 15-minute quarter hour, because he's going to pop the quarter hour and he's going to cut not just a competent promo, which Thunder Rosa cannot do, but a great promo, and get the story over and take the people through it, both in the live crowd and at home. There is a huge difference, a Gulf-sized, Grand Canyon, universe-sized difference between Thunder Rosa, nice little wrestler, and CM Punk, all-time great on the microphone, one of the biggest legitimate draws in pro wrestling. That's why CM Punk gets 15 minutes on Dynamite to explain his situation, and that's why Thunder Rosa gets 30 seconds pre-taped with Tony Schiavone, and God knows how many times I had to tape it just to get the slop that she produced out anyway. Okay? The last time they put Thunder Rosa in front of a live crowd with a microphone with Serena Deeb, it was one of the worst Dynamite segments of the year. And you want to put her out there like they did CM Punk for 15 minutes? Let alone, forget the fact that it would tank the rating. Just the fact that she can't get through it. It's nonsense. And I can't believe people are making that argument. I don't know whether they're pandering. I don't know what the deal is. But you got to get your shit together if you genuinely believe that Thunder Rosa deserved the same time that CM Punk did. Your first mistake is using the word deserved. You don't deserve shit. There's a meritocracy. She doesn't deliver ratings like CM Punk, and she doesn't perform like CM Punk. Maybe if this had been Britt Baker in Thunder Rosa's position, you trust her with a microphone. You trust her in front of the live crowd. You trust her to hold up her end of the ratings. Thunder Rosa? No. Nonsense. Nonsense. Awful. It's no wonder that this is the best podcast in wrestling. Rich Craich, thank you for the time.
No problem. Yeah, that is an absurd. I mean, especially it's not like you're talking about Thunder Rosa and I don't know, pick another dude on the roster. Dax Harwood. You know what I mean? Like it's CM Punk. He's like one of the greatest talkers ever. Like he is definitely afforded the ability to have 15 minutes to tell his story, and he was definitely afforded multiple minutes on this episode of Dynamite to try to go and sell a pay-per-view because he's CM Punk. He's one of the greatest, if not, and if you said he's the greatest promo in wrestling history, it's tough to argue. I would not argue with you if he was your pick. I might go with a Flair. I might go with an Arn Anderson. I might go with a few other guys. But fuck, Punk's right up there, man. Punk's right there. He might even be there. I cannot believe. And I did see a little bit of that too. And I was, laughing at just the overall, like just the very idea of it made me laugh. But then also when you really boil it down like you did, wait, we're talking about CM Punk, one of the greatest talkers in wrestling history. And Thunder Rosa, who, as you kind of laid out there, I mean, yeah, I like Thunder Rosa in the ring. I think that she brings a lot to the table, but promo ability is not it. It would be a disaster. It would be an absolute disaster to put her out in the middle of Dynamite and give her 15 minutes with a microphone. That is a disaster. You do not do that. That is not good. That puts her in a bad position, too, because she's not good at that either. Like, I don't think she would have wanted that either. Like, that's a terrible, 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 terrible position to put Thunder Rosa in. So, the stopwatch dorks got way out of control this week because that's just absurd. That absolutely absurd.
If these people ran a wrestling promotion, it'd be out of business in 6 months.
So quick. Yeah, so quick.
In 6 months, it'd be out of business. But anyway, that was completely absurd. I'm sure that will make me many friends, that little diatribe. But listen, come on. Please, it's driving me nuts hearing multiple people complain about this. But anyway, as far as this match goes, I mean, it looks like Toni Storm was supposed to beat Thunder Rosa according to the original plan. So maybe they go right back to Storm. I don't think there's any bad choices here, honestly.
That was my point when we were going to talk about this match, is that I honestly think that there is justification for every single one. I think Toni Storm works. I think the momentum has been pretty good for her. It'd be, her first opportunity to go and win that thing. So I'm totally fine with that. I think Toni Storm would make a great champion. Britt Baker, obviously, when she was champion, it was one of the most stable divisions, and it was a pretty damn good division for a lot of the time that she was there. And it's probably the best that this division's ever been with her. So, yeah, if you want to go back to a familiar one, and Britt Baker's fine. Hikaru Shida, again, like, she had a weird reign, but it wasn't... I liked aspects of the reign, but I think there might be, better people there right now and more talented people for her to face. If you want to go to her, she'd probably be my fourth pick out of all these, unfortunately. And then Jamie Hayter, I think... if you want to get the, Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker thing going, there's no better way than have Hayter win this and Britt to, act like she's proud of her and happy for her or whatever. But deep down, everybody knows that she's not. And then eventually it culminates in Britt or, Jamie, whoever, being the one that kind of breaks it off and it ends the relationship and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot of ways you can go there. I really honestly think every single one would be an option. Like I said, Hikaru is probably my 4 out of 4, just because we've seen that before and I'm not as excited about going down that road again. But I think between Toni, Britt, and Jamie, I think all of those options are just great choices to do it. And yeah, if it's Shida, I think that's fine too. I have no issue with that either.
Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. And the intrigue here is obviously going to be what will Daniel Garcia do?
Yes. So you did not watch Dynamite, but Chris Jericho ran into the ring to try to hit Danielson with a chair. Garcia grabbed the chair so he couldn't hit Danielson, and then when Jericho turned around, Danielson hit him with a Boseko knee. So already Garcia not quite living up to, and then Garcia made the shit face, like I'm fucked out, damn it. After he just earlier the segment before said, I'm all in on the Jericho Appreciation Society, I want to be back in, I want to be a part of this. So there you go. You got a real fun story there. And I mean, it's Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. These guys are going to be incredible. I can't wait. It's going to be one of my, two of my all-time favorites in the ring at a show that I'm going to go to live. I mean, I'm super, super excited to see it. And I think Danielson's just been absolutely, absolutely incredible in AEW so far. So excited to see what he does in this chapter. And Joe, I do want to let you know that Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay have hit the ring and they're in together. They are touching one another. So there was the debate. Would they touch each other? They are touching a lot.
Okay.
And Kenny has 35% less KT tape than he did last week. So I know a lot of people were very concerned about his well-being, but he appears to be, and he's definitely not selling his shoulder or anything right now. He's still wearing the shirt, but otherwise he's Kenny Omega pretty much all the way.
So he's still wearing the compression shirt.
He's still wearing the compression shirt, but like the other 400 layers of KT tape are now gone. So
okay, so I know the Dark Order in the finals on the Rampage side of the bracket. So maybe the Elite versus the Dark Order in the final with Hangman getting involved somehow. Have they?
Well, I will tell you right now, Uno is down for the count. He has been he has an injury and he might not be able.
Oh, so that's how they're getting Hangman in the mix.
Yes, so they were backstage and Hangman was there and they were like, "Hey, wait a minute, you could do it." And I'm sure Hangman's doing like that. I don't want to, but I think if push comes to shove, maybe he's the guy that does it. So there you go.
Serena up 5-2 in the third.
Oh, it's gonna happen. All right,
an epic meltdown. If she will serve for the match, even if the Estonian holds serve here. So Serena Williams guaranteed up a couple breaks to serve for the match, and it's already we're 18 minutes to the end of Dynamite. So this ate up the entire 2-hour Dynamite. This match.
Yeah.
So
bad news. I mean, we have 20 minutes left in Dynamite, and it's not. It's gonna eat the whole thing. So wow.
I mean, this could end right now. This could end in 5 minutes, but even so, then that's basically the entire show. So. Keep you updated there. Let's see. What do we have left? So I guess, the trios match.
Sorry, I said Uno. I meant 10 earlier. I meant press 10 tan.
So it's 10 that won't be.
Yes. Sorry, I don't know why I said Uno. So
because isn't the team 10 Silver and Reynolds, correct? Isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Dark Order. God, I can't stand the Dark Order.
I saw Uno vexed. I saw him in the pre-tape, so I was thinking, but it's press 10. That's the injured one. So we do have a new pre-show match, Joe. You ready for this one?
Yes. Interested in that.
AEW All Atlantic Championship, Pac defending against Kip Sabian.
Okay, so that was to be expected. Now, what's interesting is Will Ospreay is not booked for New Japan on the day of All Out. So I guess we'll know in a couple minutes if I would be stunned if they advance in the tournament. So maybe Will Ospreay, isn't on the show. It'd be weird if he was the Joker. That wouldn't make a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, I'd probably promote him.
So let's talk about that match. Serena, this is triple match point for Serena here. So she got 3 cracks at it. She's going to win. So we know the participants we know everyone except the Joker. So it's Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Utah, Dante Martin, Roosh, Andrade, Phoenix, and Pentagon. So we've got 3 different units in the match, plus Martin, plus the Joker. So then the speculation begins. Who's the Joker? I don't know if they put Darius Martin in this kind of spot, returning from a second major injury, put him in a ladder match. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I might want to ease him back in. He's had a number of injury issues. I think I'd ease him back in for sure.
Serena winner at 8:44, by the way.
Wow.
8:44 Central. So they get 15 minutes unopposed, which that's bad. I think they're going to get slaughtered by this. But anyway, go ahead.
Darius, I was just going to say, is he even ready to come back? I haven't heard anything about that. If he's got,
I don't know either. I'm just throwing names out there.
Right. Yeah, no. If it's Will, like that, announce it. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have him be a Joker. That's kind of dumb. Just announce him. I mean, it's Will Ospreay. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. A name that now is gaining even more steam. Him being on Dynamite. I can tell you firsthand. Like I have friends that are like, "Hey, what's this Will Ospreay guy?" So I have people very excited about. I mean, he's probably bigger than ever this year, given just how good it's been and everything. So yeah, I'm very, very curious. How why you would put him as a TBD. So yeah, I don't think they would. I mean, I guess sometimes Tony just kind of feels himself though, and he's got a show that he thinks. But like that'd be pretty dumb. I just put him in that match.
So would I. Let me pitch you another wild name. You ready for this one? How about Kota Ibushi?
Kota Ibushi. Wow. Yeah.
Tony Khan keeps talking about by the end of All Out, our roster is going to be significantly stronger. That's the phrasing he keeps using. Now, I don't think Kota Ibushi's contract ran out and, the the middle of the year. Typically, the New Japan contracts run till either January or the end of January. And we kind of touched on this. It's like when New Japan really stand in the way, they really want nothing to do with the guy anyway. So if Ibushi wants to do it, and he did hint at it on Twitter a little bit a couple weeks ago, and Khan wants to do it, and he calls up New Japan, I think they would let Ibushi do it. I don't think they want anything to do with him anyway.
Right, and it might be the best way to kind of appease him if hey, this is something you want to do, bud. Hey, you got the rest of your contract up, when it's out, and we're not going to renew you, and then you can go do whatever you want, but you're contracted with us, so yeah, we'd appreciate if you work with a company that we at least have a relationship with, and yeah, we have a relationship with AEW, so if that's going to be the one, it does seem like the perfect marriage, and that's why I presented him as an option for if Kenny wasn't ready to go or Kenny wasn't healthy. I thought it would be a great option for the Bucks to use because. And yeah, it was about a month or so that we had this discussion, so you can go back and listen to that if you want. But to me, yeah, Ibushi doing stuff in AEW seems perfect. It's a company that New Japan has a relationship with, so it's not like he's doing something completely opposed to New Japan Pro Wrestling. That would be weird, and that would be strange, and that would be odd, and contractually, I don't even know if he can do that. I don't know that he could work for Big Japan if he wanted to. You know what I mean? There's a lot of weird stuff there. Yeah, he's got a contract with New Japan, but if he, or AEW or Khan, presented, hey, I'd like to bring in Ibushi, and if he's down for it, are you guys down for it? Why would New Japan stand in the way of that? Why would they care? I mean, it's they're getting some modicum of value out of that, instead of just putting him on ice. I mean, possibly saying, hey, Kota Ibushi, he's been a former IWGP Heavyweight Champion. He's done that. There's benefits to having him, there for New Japan because it's. People might not know the minutia and might not know all the details, but might just know, hey, that's a guy who wrestles in New Japan. Oh, that's kind of cool. So I think there's value there. But yeah, it's just if this is how he's going to run out his contract, that might be the best way. So that's a definite interesting name to keep an eye on. I mean, he's definitely hinted towards it, and I think it'd be the best way to give Ibushi something to do for the remainder of his New Japan run.
And again, the last we heard, New Japan was just want to quietly let him run out the clock on his deal and wash their hands of him. So like you said, if this will keep him happy, and he has really the last couple of months been quiet, and if this will keep him, happy and keep him quiet, then just let him do it. What's the harm? You're not interested in the guy anyway.
Right. If you don't say that we're run by the Yakuza, we will let you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you want to work AEW, cool. Don't tweet about us being ran by the Yakuza anymore. Then we're even. And if that's the agreement, then I think both parties would take that for sure. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any other, big name free agents off the top of my head that could be. Not that the Joker has to be someone from the outside. It could be someone from the inside who we haven't seen for a while. It could be Adam Cole. It could be, any star inside the company who's kind of been laying low for a while. So who knows? But
Joe, what are you guys doing for TLB's birthday tomorrow?
It's kind of random to ask in the middle of a.
No, it's not because I'm watching in a fucking incredible match. I'm watching Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega exchange high flying maneuvers. And
so watching... Rich is annoyed that he's not there. I am going to read the exact conversation.
I'm just curious. Just out of nowhere. I'm just wondering what you guys are doing. Just to was it worth it? for how many birthdays has this woman had? I mean, what's another?
Joe Lanza, 8:31 on Tuesday. Can you go tomorrow instead of Thursday? Meaning, can you do the show tomorrow instead of Thursday? Next week will have to be either Wednesday or Friday too. Rich Craich responds 20 minutes later. Ah, shit. I was going to go to Dynamite, but I haven't bought any tickets or anything yet. Next week is no problem either way. So then we have this comical confusion over what
you said is Dynamite tomorrow, and I was like, well, yeah.
You're like, yeah, dummy. Wednesday is Dynamite.
Yeah,
but I wasn't sure.
You know what that means? Yeah.
I wasn't sure it was in Chicago. Is what I meant. So we clear that all up. So then Rich says, so I said, okay, this is what I said at 9:17. I said, okay, I'm coughing now.
Receipt,
okay, don't worry about it unless you can't get tickets. Next week, we'll do Wednesday. So then Rich responds 1 minute later, it's all good. I didn't buy a ticket or anything. And then, I don't know what you meant to say, but you mistyped. You said, if you got to go, then let's do it. In other words, he gave the go-ahead for Wednesday after I told him, don't worry about it. And then I said 1 minute later, okay, then we'll do Wednesday the next 2 weeks. So I'll let the people judge whether you were strong-armed into missing Dynamite tonight.
Guilt-tripped. Just guilt-tripped. I thought it was something with your kids. I didn't know it was a birthday party for an adult woman.
I will let the people judge. Because you said, I said, okay, don't worry about it. Because that's what TLB instructed me to do. She said, see if you can move it to Wednesday, but if you can't, it's no big deal. Right. We'll just go out to eat Wednesday.
Yeah. All right.
So that's what I tried to. And then I was okay with it. And you said, no, it's all good.
Yeah,
no problem.
well, and then I woke up, and then I was just like, damn, I should have told him.
And now you're annoyed.
Yeah, I'm very annoyed.
You should have just said, no, I'm going to... You should have, yeah.
Well, yeah, and then I decided the good thing that we can do, I think the agreement that we can do, and maybe you can ask TLB if she wants to, chip in some money for this as well, is that the next time Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega share a ring together, you can just buy me tickets to that. So...
Whoa, listen. Do I have to read that exchange again?
I think the people have heard enough. So
I'm like, all right, man. All right, you want to go? No problem. Then you're the one who's like, no, it's all good.
You caught me in an anxious millennial moment. So
I did. And if you notice, I never once said it was her birthday because I didn't want to put additional pressure on you. I didn't give the reason.
Yeah, see, I had I was like, oh, he's got to go to his like parent-teacher conferences for his children or something like that. I had, don't worry. I thought... I was like, there's got to be a reason. I was thinking, well, it took me, 30 minutes to respond? I was hemming and hawing. Oh, man, I'm sure there's a good reason. I'm sure there's a good reason why he's asking me to do this. So I did not think adult birthday party, but or adult birthday. I shouldn't say birthday party. It's not like she's having a surprise party. Unless she is. I hate to ruin this.
Yeah, we're doing pin the tail on the donkey.
Right. I assume it's just you guys going to dinner and then having sex. So
we got a piñata. We're going to spin her around with the fucking blindfold.
Playing some Twister, yeah.
With the bat. Is that are piñatas canceled?
Ooh, great question. I don't know. I haven't seen
either.
One in a while, but then again, I don't go to many children's birthday parties, so
I don't know if piñata is a good question though, right?
Let me see if the nurse. Hey, Michelle? Can you come in for a moment? See what the nurse has to think about
Yeah.
She listens to Chapo Trap House. I'm sure they would have said something about it. I'm
not going to come in here if I'm going to be berated about my leftist views.
No, you're going to be you're going to get asked the question. We were wondering, are piñatas canceled?
Why? Because it's like
I assume
like
culturally.
Violent. It's like the 90s version of violent video games. Like they're inciting
I think it's
violence.
the
whole
racial
Mexican,
Oh, interesting.
I don't think the bats are what people are worried about. Yeah.
Like, are piñatas appropriation of the Mexican culture?
Oh shit, they are.
So I was going to bring up that no, they're not but then I remember because we used to drive by that piñata shop and it was in like a very Mexican neighborhood.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, those
totally
people are definitely still rocking piñatas as they should because
they're allowed.
That's a great story. That was like it had every piñata you've ever seen.
Do kids still have piñatas though?
That's what we're wondering.
I don't know. I feel like that parents stopped using them not because of their worry of appropriating culture, but just because of horrible accidents and like kids
losing eyeballs
with
and
a
stuff.
bat.
Yeah. Reckless batting.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
I think if you put like now and laters and fucking Bubblicious inside the piñata, it might be bad. But what if you put like churro?
Yeah, also
every kid's allergic to everything. Yes,
now, so.
Right. They're like, what candy is in that piñata? Like, have you? Yes. Yeah. Now
you also can't give treats.
We've gotten to the crux of the issue. I think is not the appropriation, but rather the like, my son can't have Almond Joys. He's allergic to the.
Right.
The almonds.
Yeah, the almond. Oh yeah. Oh no, he's got gluten allergies. I hope that doesn't he can't cross. I think that's probably the crux of the issue more so than the appropriation. So
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I think the tree nut allergy thing came in before appropriation of culture.
for sure. People are still well down with hitting a giant thing with a Good night, nurse.
All right, hit the bricks, nurse.
Yeah, she's done.
We're through with you. All right, what were we?
I gotta wake up every day.
Okay, all right, hit the bricks.
Hey, see, the problem is you can't get rid of her. That's the problem.
She's a corporate nurse now. Are you back? No, you're done. You're done.
You don't have to tell them that I'm not a real nurse anymore.
Well,
a corporate nurse?
well.
I just want everybody to know.
Don't you have a desk now?
Yeah. I listen to Chapo Trap House inside my cubicle, so fuck off.
There it is. The nurse.
Yeah. Oh, well, good for her.
Gets off her feet a little bit, No 12-hour shifts
money.
anymore. No, she is making that money. I'll tell you that.
Good. Hey,
Yeah.
listen. You got to talk her
upgrade.
into. You got to get out of that cubicle and do this the whole time. That's what you got to do. You got to talk her into it. Now that she's carrying the load, you know what I'm saying? You got to be like, listen.
Yeah, I think I'm still more likely to. She's more
Present
likely
the
to just
math.
quit her job. Yeah, but okay. All right.
Present the math.
Let's let a paycheck or two get in. So.
Yeah. So that's speculation on the Joker. Rich, we had a main roster match added to the show. Are you ready for this one?
Yes.
House of Black versus Darby, Sting, and Miro. Main show.
All right. Hey, that's awesome.
Not the pre-show.
I don't think I've ever seen Sting live. Now that I think about it.
Is that true?
I've gone to TNA shows. I've gone to WCW shows. I've gone to, obviously, numerous WWE shows. I don't believe I've ever seen Sting live. Great opportunity to see him. I'm looking right now. It is, no, I have never seen Sting live.
Well, Sting will be in action in Chicago
Can't
on
wait.
Sunday,
Yeah.
Rich. So there you go. All right, what do we have left here? I think we did every match.
They did announce a Hook versus Angelo Parker FTW Championship match on the pre-show as well. As a stacked pre-show. TK, you don't have to do every single title and every single match, but I appreciate it. But yeah, there you go. Hook versus Angelo Parker.
I'm guessing there'll be a fourth match added on Rampage. They like to do 4, which I like. I like the wall-to-wall action on the pre-show. I don't like the
you don't
hype
like
videos.
Dopey guys sitting at a table trying to predict fake matches. Yeah.
Well, that sucks even worse. But I think the hype videos too. I think, and I could be totally off base on this. My gut tells me that matches sell more pay-per-views than those hype videos do. I think people tune out and change the channel when those the Road to videos that they do, which are tremendous, by the way, like the Road to show. But I think showing the live building with the live fans and showing live
people going
action.
hot, people going nuts, people
Yes.
going crazy, good matches, exciting matches. Yeah, that makes you want to buy it.
Yeah, Jim Ross talking about, Chris Jericho in a pre-tape with dramatic music playing. I think people are flipping around, putting on a baseball game, waiting for a match to come on when they're watching.
The Elite have entered the finals of the AEW World Trios Championship.
Once you told me that Hangman deal, it kind of locked it in that we're going to get. It would have been really weird to have United Empire versus a Hangman.
right.
So, Will Ospreay is not going to be on this show unless, because listen, Pac was his other road to the show because they had the stare off last week, and Pac is now booked. Oh, so that's 4 pre-show matches, right? The Pac match?
No, 3 so far. It's Ishii and Kingston, Pac and Sabian, Hook and Angelo Parker is what we got so far. Just 3.
I thought you gave me another pre-show match.
Just 3 so far. Just 3.
Yeah, so so I don't know. Will is either the Joker or he's on the pre-show in some form or fashion, or they shoot something for Friday for him. I don't know. But the fact that he's not on the he's not booked for New Japan is, and neither's Jay White, by the way. Those are both very conspicuous. So, we'll see. But I think we have now previewed.
I think we got it all. Yeah, real quickly. Ishii and Kingston, Pac and Sabian, Hook and Angelo Parker. We did that. The Elite versus TBD, but the Dark Order. We just basically locked that in. It's the Dark Order for sure. I do not think the Best Friends are going to upset them and win that one. Wardlow FTR versus Jay Lethal and Motor City Machine Guns. Tony Storm, Dr. Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Hikaru Shida for the interim World Women's title. Claudio, Yuta, Penta, Phoenix, Rush, Andrade, Dante Martin, Joker, Casino Ladder match. Danielson, Jericho, yep, Swerve and Glory versus the Acclaimed. Jungle Boy Christian, did you do that when I was gone? I don't recall.
I did Jungle Boy Christian, and I did Starks Hobbs.
Okay, yeah. Jade, Athena, House of Black, and then Moxley and Punk. There it is. 14 matches.
When you add the title match and the trios match, that's 11 main card matches. So it's doubtful that they'll add another.
Yeah,
but I think we'll get another. I think we'll get another 0 hour match. So I think we'll get one more.
So
because the hook thing is going to be a minute long.
Oh yeah. He'll destroy Angelo Parker for sure. So
yeah.
All right. So that's that's a hell of a show. It's weird. We do all this hand reading every single month, and it's great. It's a great looking show. And they might have Will Ospreay on the show in some form or fashion too.
Right.
Like Aussie Open and Will Ospreay are presumably still going to be in Chicago. It could still be. It's a fucking tremendous show. Like, what do we complain about? Why are we always complaining about this company? It's so good. John Moxley versus CM Punk, Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho, Miro, Darby Allin, and Sting versus the House of Black. That's fucking the Elite versus I don't know. It's fucking absurd, but my god!
Welcome to all the new live listeners coming in after Dynamite. We're done with AEW now, so welcome to the show.
Yeah, Serena's done, Dynamite's done. You're here. Welcome.
Yeah.
Now you come crawling, and now we're good enough for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how it is.
Yeah.
It's fine. Let's see how it is. Speaking of All Out, we are going to be live immediately following All Out on Sunday. Well, immediate-ish, because I will be going to All Out, so I will need to be leaving All Out, and I will need to come home. So immediate, maybe not, probably about an hour or so after All Out. I think that's what it was last year. I mean, I can get home from that arena pretty quickly. It's just a matter of getting out of the parking lot, but I have my ways. I'm a slick about. I don't know if you do this, especially when you go to events, but I plan it out. Like, all right, I got to park here because this is the best way to get out. Because if you go, hey, I'm going to get right next to the building and I'm going to get a perfect spot right by the door, you're fucked. You know what I mean? You're not getting out. There's people walking in front of your car. There's a line of cars. You got to play the long game. You got to think about when I'm leaving, where do I want to be? So I have my ways and my plan. So.
You rather have the longer walk into the building.
Oh, yeah. Because who wants to walk in on a what's looking like a beautiful Sunday afternoon? Perfectly fine. Sitting in your car while people just go, it's the worst. I'm just the fucking most dreadful way to spend any amount of time. So, I would rather walk a couple a half a mile and then get out of there as soon as possible is my plan.
Rich is going to be parked on Lake Michigan.
I'm going to be parked very far away. I will tell you, I won't say my secret spot because I don't want anyone else to know about it, but it was pretty far away.
I know where it is.
From the building. So where is it, Joe?
Halstead Street.
It is on Halstead Street. You got it.
I knew it.
Hell of a walk from...
Yep.
I can't. You got to come to Chicago one of these days. I'll take a ride on Halstead Street with you.
I need to go to Halstead Street.
We'll go. Yeah, so I think it'll get a little one-man gangy after a while. So
I want to see the one-man gang.
Yeah, you'll see more than a one-man gang. You'll see multiple men gangs at some point. But
all right,
gets a little gets Halstead Street. Not all.
A little dicey on Halstead Street.
A little rough and tumble.
There's a reason they said the one-man gang was from Halstead Street.
Yes, and they don't. Yes. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, well, but anyway, not. We'll do that one of these days. Next
That's the murder capital of the world, Chicago, Illinois. We all know that.
I don't know. Is it still? I don't know if it still is. So. Anyway,
I think so.
What was I going to say here? Yes, so we will be immediately after All Out. Patreon.com/Voices of Wrestling, flagship Patreon.com, voicesofwrestling.com/Patreon, whatever way you want to do it. $10 tier. Last year was one of our more popular shows ever. We had tons of people listening in, and obviously that was a monumental, all-time great pay-per-view. I don't know for sure if this is going to be a monumental, all-time great pay-per-view. I assume it probably won't be, but I have a feeling it's going to be a really, really noteworthy, very good pay-per-view, so you're definitely going to want to check that out. Again, $10 tier on Sunday. After All Out, probably about 45 minutes to an hour after the show, we will go live with a review of each and every single match, and that will be our only time reviewing All Out as well. So if you're planning on tuning into the flagship next week to say, hey, I wonder what Joe and Rich thought of All Out, well, we're not going to talk about All Out. We're going to talk maybe big picture stuff, but we're not going to go match by match, break it all down. That is only going to happen on Instant Reaction Live. $10 tier, Flagship, patreon.com. That will be, again, as I said, about an hour or so after All Out, we will go live. So make sure you're subscribing to that, flagshippatreon.com. And that's not it. There's a lot of other stuff as well. And most of you listening to them, the people in the Nordo chat room, you're already $10 subscribers. Thank you very much. You were in the last day of the month, but for most of the people listening to this, at least on the free feed, you're going to be listening to this on September 1st, September 2nd, early September. That is the best time to subscribe to the Patreon. You get the full month of content, and god damn, do we have a lot of content. Joe, what do you have in the pipe or down the pike for Patreon?
Well, if you're listening to this live, then obviously you're already on the $10 tier, but that could be expiring in a few hours. I would recommend re-upping on the $10 tier so you get the instant reaction live. If you are listening to this if you're not listening to this live, then it's guaranteed that you're listening to this after the first of the month. So it's a good time to get in, and I would recommend, obviously, the $10 tier so you get the all-out instant reaction. Here's TLB with that Coke Z, big in the clutch. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I was just telling Rich how I demanded that we move the show to today so that you get taken out for a proper birthday dinner on your birthday tomorrow. So I laid down the law. I demanded, and he acquiesced. So I demanded that the show be moved. Isn't that true? It is true. Anything for the lovely TLB. That doesn't make sense. The lovely Brittany.
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense. But you're welcome. I got a lot of gifts in store for you tomorrow too. Yeah. I have no idea what I'm getting.
I was gonna say you're done. No gift.
I don't have the first clue. Hey, what I do have for you is some hot Italian sausage downstairs on the stove. But I also have some hot Italian sausage for you later tonight. How about that? Womp womp. No? Tonight. Sure, tonight. Really? What do you say?
Wow, really?
Little Hotlands of action? What do you think?
We'll see about this.
All right. Looking forward to it. Okay. All right.
Not the response you were looking for there.
I need that soda real bad. No, she's doubting me.
Really?
Yeah.
Tonight? Oh, she doesn't think you're down after the show. Your energy
because
is
after
gone.
These shows, she knows that I'm just like, she's doubting me. What was I saying? Oh, the 10. Yeah, you're gonna want to be on. This is a horrible ad for the Patreon.
It's so bad. No one's gonna subscribe at all.
You're gonna want to be on that. Now I'm coughing with the long COVID.
It's the worst. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, Joe, flagshippatreon.com. So many good things going on this month. Tell us all about it.
I did write just today a new edition of the rebranded and renamed. Where is it? I can't find it now. I know I just put something up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, Joe, flagshippatreon.com has a lot of great stuff coming up this month, including a new TV roulette. TV Review Roulette.
Yes.
That is the new name of the random. I thought Random TV Reviews was a very clunky name. So I have
went with the very smooth and easy to remember TV
Review Roulette.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that it more appropriately describes what the column is. This week's shows that I reviewed were the Monday Night Raw, NXT 2.0, and Rampage, which I pretty much do every week. But I did the Monday Night Raw as it was the go home for the Sieging the Castle or whatever that show is called, and the NXT 2.0, which was the go home for the Worlds Collide. So I gave a rather scathing review of Monday Night Raw for those who have
the new Monday Night Raw.
Oh yeah, the new and quote unquote improved Monday Night Raw.
All right, I'll have to read that review and see what you thought of the new and improved Monday Night Raw.
Listen, it's been 5 weeks of this Triple H Monday Night Raw, and I don't know, man. I'm Tom Hanks and big. I don't get it, Rich. I don't see where this is such a great television show now. But you can read all about that on the $10 tier, and I'll tell you why. Everybody else is wrong about Raw, and I am right. So, yeah, there's a lot of great stuff behind the paywall, a lot of great stuff obviously coming up. September is going to be a big month. with All Out. You got a new gimmick coming or what? What's your new gimmick for September?
So I'm still kind of planning on what I'm going to do. My topical, I usually do every single month. I'll do kind of a themed on topic, whatever I did in July. I was doing, Bash of the Beaches, Fall Brawls. I'll do in the fall. September's still up in the air. I have a few ideas. You'll probably know, and I'll probably have an official one to announce in the next few days, but a few fun ideas, some ones that I'm kind of wrestling around with. I will have a brand new episode of the Goldberg series in the next few days. Most of it is recorded. I just have to edit it. A lot of work and a lot of research goes into them, so it takes a little while to edit them. I take clips from various videos and from interviews and all that sort of stuff, but I should have a new Goldberg 173 and 1 up in the next few days. That is on the $5 tier. And the wheels are in motion, Joe, for a brand new deep dive. And if you're new to this show, or you're new to the Flagship Patreon, you never heard of it before, the deep dive is Joe and I. We go, it is the name as described. We pick a topic in wrestling, whether it be a title, which we've done storyline, we've done feuds, we've done a lot of different stuff, and we just go absolutely nuts. We cover as many things as possible about that one feud. It tends to not be, it's like hyper focused on like one very, very small thing. So we've done like the J Crown, we've done the UWF tag team titles in 1986, we've done the I'd Like to Talk to Tom angle, we've done the Love Machine versus Blue Panthers. So that's the kind of stuff that you can have for this. And this is another feud that we're working on here, but I've started watching some of the stuff, started taking some notes, and this is going to be an exciting one. And I would presume that is going to come in the next couple of weeks as well, as we're all kind
that'll
of
be in September.
It'll be in September for sure. I can't tell you exactly when, but the wheels are in motion. It will be in September. So
don't want to give the topic away yet either.
No.
It's an interesting deep dive where I think people will learn a little something. So
yeah, I'm already learning stuff as well. It's always it's cool when you can do that too. When one of us presents this topic and either of us kind of learn stuff from this topic as well, learn stuff as we're but yeah, this is going to be a really, really cool topic. I think it's people are going to love it. And a lot
we will
of stuff,
say it happens to be a feud in this case.
Yes. Yeah.
A feud. So it was a feud that only lasted about 3 months from start to finish.
Right, and the blow-off doesn't even involve the two teams we're going to talk about most of the time. So
right, the blow-off, and then the blow-off comes like 3 months after that, so some people will figure out what it is. But we do get into very heavily into the backstory. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, and we'll reveal what the deep dive topic is a little closer to the release. That'll be on the $5 tier.
Yeah. So plenty of good stuff. All of our written content up on the $10 tier as well. So yeah, plenty of stuff. The big thing is going to be the Instant Reaction Live this weekend for All Out. So make sure you get on that $10 tier. Make sure you're ready to go. We have a lot of people that sign up.
Also, the media call is this week too. So we'll have media call coverage.
Right.
We'll have media call coverage actually tomorrow. On Thursday is the Tony Khan media call. So a lot of places will just put up an audio file of the call, but you get full analysis from us along with the audio file. So, and obviously there will be Thursday TV reviews this week as well. Those will be back. There were no reviews last week because we did the Instant Reaction Live for Dynamite, but this week the Thursday Dynamite review returns as well.
So there you go. A lot of stuff up there. FlagshipPatreon.com, patreon.com/voicesofwrestling, voicesofwrestling.com/Patreon, whatever way you do it. $5 tier, $10 tier. And I do want to remind people, we get a lot of people that sign up like the night of, or like 2 minutes before we go live, or as we go live, and they sign up for the Instant Reaction, they sign up for the $10 tier. Just do it now. Just do it when you have the chance. Like, don't wait till we have so many people that come in, hey, what did I miss? Or, oh, it's 10 minutes in, what did I miss? It's like, don't miss anything. Just don't miss anything. Sign up now. If you have an inkling about doing it, if you're thinking, hey, I'd love to hear that, just do it now. You're going to pay the same price. You're going to get a couple more days of content, and you're going to be all ready to go on Sunday night when we cover All Out. Deep as fuck. We'll probably go 2 hours, or hell, we've done 3-hour instant reactions as well. So you never know what the hell's going to happen on those Sunday nights, and it's always going to be weird. And maybe I'll have a voice. Last year I did not have a voice, so we'll see how things go this year. But that is all again at flagshippatreon.com, patreon.com/voicesofwrestling, and voicesofwrestling.com/ Patreon. So, all right, there is a lot of other stuff going on All Out weekend. So, real quickly, I just want to cover these other shows. If you are going to the Chicagoland area, or if you just want to make it a wrestling weekend, there is plenty of options for you. We're going to talk about the WWE shows coming up here in a bit, but you also have starting tomorrow night, AEW's Destination Chicago. That is streaming on the High Spots Network. They are now officially aligned with the High Spots Network. No longer Fight, not Independent Wrestling TV. They are on the High Spots Network. And they have a pretty good-looking show here for Thursday. I will say some things are in flux because wrestling is wrestling, and injuries are injuries, and travel woes are travel woes right now. So I think most of these matches are pretty well locked in, but some might not be all the way. So definitely, if you're planning on going, cards subject to change is probably the best way that I can say about that. But you have Matt Fitchett versus Jake Something for the AEW World Championship. You have AEW Women's Championship, Christy Janes versus Billy Starks. AEW Tag Team Championships, Josh C. And ACH versus Hammerstone and Ace Perry. I believe Hammerstone has an injury, so that might get changed as well. I think AEW did announce that as well, but I don't know if they've announced an official replacement there. Ace Austin versus Davey Vega, AEW Heritage Championship. You also have for the Impact World Championship, Josh Alexander versus Masha Slamovich. Silas Young versus Braden Lee. That, again, is also going to change. Braden Lee has an injury, so we'll see about that. Gringo Loco, Dante Leone, Mike Bennett, and Laredo Kid. Amish Street Fight, Levi Everett versus Dynamite alum. He was just on Dynamite an hour ago. Ren Jones. Levi Everett versus Ren Jones. And then, presumably, pretty cool match here, Aussie Open. And Zachary Wentz versus Manders, Gnarls Garvin, and Rich Swann. So, pretty interesting show there from AAW, but that'll be on Thursday. Streaming on the High Spots Network if you're not in Chicago, but if you're in the Chicago area and you're here already and you're ready to take in some wrestling, that's going to start on September 1st. You also have on September 1st running head-to-head Freelance Wrestling's We're Gonna Plex 'Em. That is taking place from the Emporium Arcade Bar. So if you want to play some arcade games and watch wrestling, that is the place to go. Freelance Wrestling, We're Gonna Plex 'Em. That is streaming live on independentwrestling.tv. Bunch of matches on that show. I don't want to make this segment way too long, but you got Freelance Wrestling there on September 1st, so I'm just going to quickly kind of go over the rest of the shows. September 2nd, Friday, Black Label Pro 4 Cups Stuffed. This is going to take place in the Grand Sports Arena, Hoffman Estates. That's where all of the GCW adjacent stuff is going to be happening. It's in Hoffman Estates, so if you're staying near the arena for All Out, all the stuff is going to be happening there. Also, all these things are going to be streaming on voicesofwrestling.com/fight. So again, if you order any of these shows, make sure to use that link, voicesofwrestling.com/fight. Main event of 4 Cups Stuffed, Calvin Takeman versus Rich Swann for the BLP heavyweight title. You also have Ernest the Cat Miller versus Joey Janela.
Why isn't Ernest Miller doing the Ayatollah from The Wrestler?
I agree. He should be.
I would think that Joey Janela would be all about that idea.
Well, I guess we're going to find out. We'll find out on September 2nd. That would be, I agree, because, you know, your basic people are going to say, oh, Ernest the Cat Miller. Yeah, no. Your real heads are going to say the Ayatollah. So I hope he does. I really hope he does. And then your boy, Brian Alvarez, is going to be teaming with Billy Starks against Killer Kelly and Tom Lawler. I do not like their chances there.
No, I do not like their chances either.
I think this is a match that might work for you too. Gringo Loco, Latigo, and Toxin versus ASF, Drago Kid, and Laredo Kid. That sounds pretty damn awesome. So,
yeah, that'll that ASF ended up being really one of the winners of WrestleMania weekend. He gets booked everywhere now.
Yeah,
and I kind of told people that was going to happen, and it seems to be coming to pass.
GCW Art of War Games 2, that's September 3rd, so that is on, would that be Saturday then for that show. Again, Grand Sports Arena, also airing on voiceswrestling.com/fight. The big match here is your 5-way War Games match. It's the Briscoes versus Alex Colon and John Wayne Murdoch versus Ali Catch and Effie versus Sequel Pay and Miedo Extremo versus Mance Warner and Matthew Justice. So you got that. I got Alex Shelley versus Blake Christian, and then this match has got me a little interested here. Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne versus Aussie Open. So Aussie Open picking up a bunch of bookings throughout the weekend as well. So there you go. You have GCW's The Settlement Series Part 2. That is also on the 3rd, and I think it's a big haha joke, and I don't think there's a card, and I don't care enough to find the card. So there you go.
I was assured that the Settlement Series would have effort put into it, and that has not been the case.
No, it's like a joking,
total tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, total tongue-in-cheek lack of effort.
Low effort. Yeah.
Cool. So you got that. Then you got GCW's...
Wait, that's on Fight?
You know what? Yeah, you're right. That's probably
correct.
Not on Fight.
It's Independent Wrestling TV.
Yeah, I apologize. I messed up there. It's on Independent Wrestling TV. That's why it would make sense. So there you go. All right. So do not order that on voicesofwrestling.com/fight. That'll be on independentwrestling.tv. And then the 4th, you have Effie's Big Gay Brunch. That will be on voicesofwrestling.com/fight.
Yeah.
There you go. That's also from the Grand Sports Arena in Hoffman Estate. So some other stuff going on this weekend as well. I know AEW's having a fan fest, a bunch of other stuff. So they're making All Out a little bit of a mini weekend. I don't know that any of these shows are like, real good. Like they're not. There's some good stuff on some of these shows, but yeah, the tag along shows, the shows, WrestleMania weekend shows, that kind of term. It feels like we're those are a thing of the past.
It's over.
But, yeah, it's over. So it's all right.
It's over. Yeah,
it's a different era. That was the past era. This is the new era. So there's some fun stuff, and if you're in town and you want to watch wrestling, there's a bunch of stuff to check out. But yeah, nothing. There used to be times when people would. I used to fly. I did it. We flew in to WrestleMania weekend to watch shows that weren't WrestleMania, and then flew out before WrestleMania started. I would not advise doing that for any of these shows. Flying into Chicago and then leaving before All Out. I would
what a salesman!
Yeah. Well,
Hey, look, if you're into Game Changer, they run like every 10 minutes. So, you're in a pretty good time and place. But it's hard for me to get amped up for a lot of these indies these days. It's hard.
It's tough, but what can get you amped up, though, Joe, is the show that you don't know what the name of it is because you've called it 3 different things so far on the show. It is WWE's Clash at the Castle. You called it Storming the Castle Mutiny or something. I don't know why you called it so many different things, but it is WWE Clash at the Castle, happening September 3rd, 1 p.m. Eastern. So remind you, this is obviously not in America. This is in the UK. So 1 p.m. Eastern, this show airing on Peacock. And your card is Edge and Rey Mysterio with Dominic Mysterio versus Judgment Day, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor.
Yeah. They did a big angle on Raw where the Mysterios attacked Judgment Day from behind with kendo sticks. And then, so there you have it. Edge and Rey Mysterio versus the Judgment Day, Rich.
Get into it. I'm highly
Dominic has a really bad mullet now.
Yes, he does. Yes. Is that, I guess I should ask the question. Is Dominic's bad mullet making you care about Dominic Mysterio?
I'm glad you asked. I was hoping you'd ask. And my answer might...
Finally, I'm ready. All right, yeah, let me get ready for this. This is big.
And, Rich, the fact of the matter is, I will never care about Dominic.
Damn it. Even with the mullet?
In fact... No, not with the mullet.
When he gets choked out by Rhea Ripley, that doesn't...
Does nothing for me.
Did you watch him on Family Feud?
I'm not that kind of pervert.
Oh, yeah. He was on Family Feud. Did you watch that?
No, because I don't want to watch any content with Dominic.
I was told, somebody texted me out of nowhere and was like, did you know the Mysterios were on Family Feud? I was like, yeah. And then someone was like, his son's kind of a dope, isn't he? I was like, I guess so.
Oh, he's not very good at Family Feud.
No, he wasn't good at Family Feud either. Like, his daughter was fun. I was like, yeah, Leah's always been good. Like, they should just replace Dominic with Aaliyah and see if anybody notices. You know what I mean? Like, just...
it's funny because I think WWE has arguably the 2 worst major league wrestlers going today. And that would be, of course, Dominic. And the other would be Aaliyah. She is horrid.
Oh, God, yes. Yeah.
She's hopeless. Like, she's never going to be anything.
Dude, she's been training for, like... We did a segment not that long ago where we went back and looked at, like, who Aaliyah was in the Performance Center with. Like... It will blow your mind, the people that she came at. Her contemporaries in the WWE Performance Center will blow your mind. And how long she's been there. She's 27 years old, Joe. 27.
Yeah.
Her first Performance Center match was in, let me get the exact date for you here, March 21st. Sorry. June 20th, 2015.
2015.
She was there with Alexa Bliss. Jasmine. That's Aaliyah. Aaliyah's Jasmine. I know that. Lena, who obviously would become Nia Jax.
Correct.
Now already out of the company. Carmella.
What is this match? You're just naming names.
No, it's Alexa Bliss, Jasmine, and Lena defeating Carmella, Cassie, obviously the future Peyton Royce, or the former Peyton Royce, and Devin Taylor. We're in the Devin Taylor training to be a wrestler age. Of WWE.
People in that match
Devin Taylor.
People in that match who had years-long runs and aren't even in the company anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's
not
like,
good.
she's just still kind of
hanging around,
working
being
on
terrible,
figuring it out.
Yeah.
See if she can.
Definitely not figuring it out. Hey, did you see Kurt Angle on Raw?
I did see a brief moment of Kurt Angle on Raw.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy? I think you know what he is. You know what Kurt Angle. For people who haven't seen Kurt Angle, first of all, he cannot turn his neck. He hasn't been able to turn his neck in years from just falling on his neck and breaking his neck. So the man literally can only if he wants to look, he has to turn his whole body to look. Like he cannot turn his neck. Okay. He's like an action figure that doesn't have opposable head. Like it just, his head has to face forward, right? It's like fused forward. The other thing is he does not blink. Kurt Angle has not blinked since 2017. The man's eyes, I'm not totally convinced he has eyelids. Okay, he does not blink.
And they're very open too. They're not
very open.
It's not like a half blink. It's all open. Completely
Kurt
open.
Angle is in a perpetual state of shock with his eyes. His eyes are just wide the fuck open and they do not blink. And the way he speaks and the way he stands with his unmovable neck.
It's very weird, yeah.
He basically, what he is he's like if aliens invaded the Earth and were pretending to be human. That's what he's like. He's like an alien pretending to be human and doing it very poorly. Like, if we were in a movie where aliens were pretending to be humans, we'd spot Kurt Angle immediately. We'd be like, that guy's a fucking alien.
Right, he's not moving his neck. He's not blinking. He doesn't know that humans have to blink.
Don't trust the guy with the Olympic gold medal. That's an alien. Like, he's very poorly imitating a human being. As an alien,
he also kind of looks like a wax figurine at this point too. He's got a very strange face and
very strange.
His body is he's still kind of in shape, but also not in shape. He's kind of got that Chris Jericho thing where he's got abs, but he's also fat.
Right, the abs on top of the fat.
I don't get it. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, and he kind of just stands in one place. I feel like he's brittle, but at the same time, I feel like he's stistill whip my ass. It's
of course
weird.
He can still whip your ass. Are you kidding?
But he can't move his neck.
Oh, he'll still whoop the shit out of you. It's Kurt Angle.
Yeah, because he's a psychopath.
Won the gold medal with a broken freaking neck. He's going to whoop your ass. Are you kidding?
Yeah. But he can't move. He's so stiff. It's weird. But he's a bizarre human being at this point. It's, he did that awful segment with Gable where Gable just yells douche over and over. It's just terrible stuff.
So that was that on the New and Improved Monday Night Raw? Because
that was on the New and Improved Monday Night Raw.
I don't know if that's right, Joe. Because I've heard it's
the swoosh gimmick that Gable does.
It's new and improved, though. No, you're wrong.
It's
awful. Improved. It's new and it's improved. So
Dexter Lumis appearing in the crowd, and then,
is that also on the New and Improved Raw?
It is. Yeah, and then he disappears, and
I don't know. Are you sure?
Everyone thinks the Miz is crazy. It's
but this is
not great, Rich. It's not great.
No, it's new and it's improved. So, Clash at the Castle. Yes. Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky versus Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair. Yep.
What is that now? Oh, that's 6-man tag. Yeah.
Six-woman tag, yeah.
Well, did you see that Bliss, Asuka, and Belair won a squash on Monday Night Raw? Over 3 jabrones. Did you see that, Rich?
I did. I think one of the jabrones pulled a Rick Rude because wasn't one of the jabrones also on Dark Elevation that same night?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I forget. Oh, man. Let me find the name of the woman that was it. But yeah, she pulled a Rick Rude and was on AEW Dark Elevation and Monday Night Raw. So good for her.
Well, good for her. Yeah. Nice job out of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got to milk that for as long as she possibly can, too.
Yeah. I got to tell you, though, I enjoy the squash to set up the pay-per-view match.
Squashes rule. Yeah.
That's
dorks hate squashes because they're dorks, but squashes fucking rock.
Yeah. So, Alexa, Asuka, and Bianca, they're not familiar with one another, right? They got to get in there and know and
figure out good tags, good who's holding the ropes, who's doing
what's our strategy here, right? So they work out
a classic tune-up match.
Classic tune-up. You need the classic tune-up, Rich. Did we find out who that?
I believe it was Katie Arquette. Katie Arquette faced Serena Deeb on Dark Elevation, and then was in this match as well.
Any relation to Patricia Arquette, the Arquette acting family?
I like how you didn't bring up David Arquette, the guy who has clear wrestling ties. You brought up Patricia.
I went with Patty. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna go with yes. Let's go with yes.
Sure. Why not?
Let's go with
Let's
unequivocally.
just spread the misinformation.
Right. Yes,
And
she is a part of the famous Arquette family. Yes.
Mhm.
There's only one family with the last name of Arquette, and she is part of that family. So good. For
No
her.
doubt about it.
Yep.
And in wrestling, you always use your real name, so she wouldn't be.
Right. It's impossible that could possibly be a gimmick name. There we go. All right, so let's move on here. Seth freaking Rollins versus Matt Riddle. He's got his first name back. New and improved Monday Night Raw. And then this was great because they said, fuck. Seth freaking Rollins talked about his divorce. I don't know about you, Joe, but I can't wait. For
They did
versus Riddle. They did the side-by-side promo package. It was Shawn and versus Brett, yelling at each other, jabbing back and forth. It's incredible stuff on the new.
Did you see someone superimposed Mark Henry on for the "That's enough talk"? It's time for the main event.
That's great. What a great gimmick. Good God.
You see, they pull apart in the parking lot.
Yeah.
See that?
Well, Triple H is in charge, and that means the parking lot is pure chaos. That man loves chaos in a parking lot. He likes people being run over. He likes people being kidnapped. He likes fights in the parking lot. That loves something as much as Triple H loves booking chaos in a parking lot. That is just...
They did no cameras because they knew people would film it because the fans were... But then, fans were putting footage on Twitter. So it came across really organic, right? But then on Raw, they did a thing where it was where it clearly wasn't a fan filming it, but they tried to pretend it was a fan filming it. Do you understand what I'm saying? It was professionally shot, but
like a little shaky,
Yeah, and they had the cameraman going, "Oh, what's happening? Oh my God!" But it was clearly professionally shot. They should have just
use a fan. Just say, slide in some fans' DMs and say, "Can we use your video?" They'll say yes.
Yeah, just use one of the fan footages where no one's cursing or whatever, and away you go. At least they're doing something.
Yeah, it's cool. It's interesting, and this should be a fun match. I mean, it's Seth Rollins, one of the better wrestlers in that company, and Matt Riddle, who's awesome too. So yeah, if they just let Riddle be Riddle,
I don't know if you saw this, but one of Riddle's ex-girlfriends who came at him a few months ago just went ballistic on Twitter again yesterday with more accusations. So I don't know, collar tugging time.
Yeah.
They might finally get him, Rich. They might finally get him. I don't know if he's going to wiggle his way out of this one. And I know there's a story in the works. That's all I can say.
Okay,
right. There's a Matt Riddle story in the works.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on
that.
That
may pop up on I don't know what outlet yet, but yeah. Anyway,
somewhere interesting. I'll keep an eye on that. WWE SmackDown Women's Title: Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler.
Yeah,
yeah, that's happening at Clash of the Castle.
Liv to me has not worked out.
No. I think everybody can admit. I mean, it's nothing. She's a non-factor. She doesn't mean a thing. At all.
Yeah.
As anybody,
don't need the pile on.
Right. We all know that.
Right.
Anybody listening to this show knows that already. But it is what it is. WWE Intercontinental Title match: Gunther defending the title against Sheamus.
I think they're going to beat the living shit out of each other. I think
sounds
it's going to be really good.
Awesome. Yeah, especially with a hot crowd. I mean, anytime they're in the UK, that crowd's always just nuts for wrestling because they're just so starved for live wrestling, especially a live pay-per-view. So the crowd's going to be absolutely fucking mental the entire show. So
hey, did you see the comps are well into the 5 figures?
Interesting. Wow. Okay.
So
it's a lot of comps.
Look, I'm not going to knock it. They've sold 1 billion tickets, but there are more comps than usual for a show of that size. So, anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up.
Then the main events, and they're really pushing this as Drew McIntyre's homecoming. Drew McIntyre's finally back in his homeland or whatever, which isn't that not even I don't even think he's from this area, but anyway, they're just the UK, yeah, that's your homeland, whatever.
Well, this is in Cardiff, Wales. He's from where is Drew McIntyre?
That's what I'm asking you. I don't know. I don't think is he from Cardiff? I don't feel like he's
let's
this is like doing CM Punk is finally back in the United States of America.
He is from Scotland, yeah, as I suspected. So, no, this is not really a homecoming for him.
So that's what I mean. Like, but they're doing it like he's coming back home. I don't know enough about Cardiff and Wales and Scott. I have no idea. So, regardless, Drew McIntyre's in the main event, and he's going to be facing the needle mover, Roman Reigns, who...
Well, no, Scotland is not Wales. It is factually not
Wales. No, I know.
So,
I'm just saying, like, I just mean, would anybody, like... Would anybody from either of those areas consider Drew McIntyre coming back like a homecoming? Or are they? I don't know. Who cares? They're telling it to U.S. fans, and U.S. fans don't really give a shit. So
I don't think anyone from Wales thinks that Drew McIntyre is coming home. No.
Right.
That I don't think is happening because he's from Scotland, not Wales.
Which is not Wales. Yes.
Which Scotland is not Wales. Yeah, I don't. Are they really saying this is a homecoming?
I've seen some stuff. Yeah, I've seen some WWE.
I guess technically they're in the same country, but I mean they have their own international soccer teams. That's enough for me to consider them.
Right.
Different because Scotland, they got the flag with the England has the flag that's just like the red cross on the white flag, right?
Yes.
When the World Cup comes around, and then Wales and Scotland have their own teams as well. So
yeah, so this is from BT Sport. At BT Sport WWE, and they've done this a lot. Just so you know, I'm not nuts. And it's a video, and it says, "For the struggle, for the sacrifices, for the birthdays missed, for the time alone, for his legacy, for his family, you're coming home, Drew McIntyre." All
right. Well, we can do a live flagship in New Hampshire and say that I'm
right. Exactly. Let's say, Joe Lanza, finally back home.
You're in the same kind of geographical region, sorta, and you're coming home.
Yeah, I cannot wait for when we go to Indianapolis, I get a hero's welcome.
Yes. Rich in Duluth, Minnesota.
Right.
Big homecoming. Yes. So.
Oh God. Well, hey, you know what? Whatever.
Do you know what's in between Scotland and Wales?
Okay. All right. Oh, are you asking me what's in between?
I'm asking you what's in between.
The Isle of Man. Don't think I don't know about the Isle of Man.
Right there in the fucking water. Yeah.
I regret to inform, I have let Isle of Man guy know that I might not be able to make it to the Isle of Man. We're trying. We're trying. It's going to be tough because we're going to Ireland. We're in on going to the Isle of Man, but it might not work out, so we'll see what ends up happening. But we want to go to the Isle of Man. We're trying to go to the Isle of Man, and I told Isle of Man guy we're doing everything we can to make sure that we can get there, so we'll see what happens.
Well, if you can make it out, it'll be the Badgers Nadgers. We all know that.
Get a hero's welcome. Isle of Man.
Yes.
Coming for the Isle of Man. Well, we are the most popular wrestling podcast in the Isle of Man, so I would presume I would get some sort of key to the city type of thing, shit. Or some sort of honorary doctorate or something.
Speaking of which, we were number one in a new country the other day. Hold on, let me pull that up.
Oh shit, nice. All right, yeah.
But the problem is with these dopey Apple charts is they change daily.
It changes pretty quickly. Yeah.
And you know what? We're going to be hard to find because our show's like 7 days old now. Let me see if I can find it.
All right, please do. I'm excited about adding a new country to our. Because once I go to the Isle of Man and get all my my pleasantries and all that sort, then it's going to be tough to. I'm going to have to find another place to go, and I'm always looking for new vacation spots. So
we were number one in. Fucking A. They want me to log in. Forget it. The bit's dead, Rich. It's dead. I will find that out for you.
At the edge of my seat. Yeah, please let me know if you can. So.
I will report back what other country we were the number one wrestling podcast in, specifically on Apple. I will let you know because we know that's very important to be the number one wrestling podcast specifically on one podcast platform. In one specific country, so
one specific week,
on one specific day. Actually, this was one specific day.
I will say the Isle of Man thing was sustained, and we knew. Then we eventually figured out why is because there's not that many people there, and Isle of Man guy listened to us, so it wasn't tough. There wasn't.
Yeah, my man's just pound and refresh. On
right, and he could do that, and he would influence enough change in the Isle of Man. So that was a legit one. Some of these other ones might be just catching on the right time at the right time, but no, the Isle of Man one, that was sustained. We were very clearly and very obviously the top wrestling podcast in the Isle of Man. So,
yeah. No, I know. Yeah, very proud of that. I tell everybody I know.
Yeah. Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre should be pretty fun, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
I haven't seen Roman Reigns in a while, so I don't know what he's doing.
Based on everything they've done in the build-up, it seems like Drew really can win.
Yes, they've been showing a lot of videos. I've been watching a lot of their.
Well, he's been getting the shit kicked out of him. That for starters.
Yes,
I mean,
and that's classic WWE style thing. And they've also in a lot of their promo videos and stuff are showing him winning big titles to kind of say, hey, this guy won. Beat Brock Lesnar. He did this. He won this title. He did this. He main evented WrestleMania. He did, they're doing a lot of like, hey, here's big moments that Drew McIntyre won. Which I guess they like to do that too when they're also going to smack you down and smash you down with Roman Reigns or whatever. But I don't know. I think that it'd be interesting. It'd be a smart way to maybe book this show. I don't know if Roman Reigns, them having a really, really good match, then Roman Reigns just beating him in the end. I don't know if that's really. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they book this. Like, is it worth taking the title off Roman Reigns to get that big giant Drew McIntyre reaction? But then again, do you want to take that title away from Roman at this point?
I feel like they could beat Roman here. I think, he's had a lot of title defenses where we've come on here and said, nah, he's not losing this one, nor should he. But this one, I think the timing's right. I think it's the right show. I think it's at the right show in the right place. It'll be a huge building, and it'll come off. They love their moments, Rich. This one will come off like a moment. It is a moment.
Yeah, that'd be an all-time moment for sure.
For Drew and all that. And Drew's the kind of guy who they respect enough in the booking to beat a guy like Roman. So I think it could happen. It's either going to be Drew or, Cody when he comes back. I mean, who else could it be at this point? So I think we have a good chance of seeing it. You know what I noticed? My bookie are no longer a sponsor of this show, right?
No, they are not. In fact, another sports betting app might become a sponsor. So sure, yeah, they're not a sponsor anymore.
Well, they don't take wrestling action anymore. Did you notice that? Oh,
no. Yeah, I did see that.
There's 3 major shows this weekend, and they've got nothing posted.
Oh, man.
They also got rid of their free plays. No more free plays. Wow. So, I don't know. They must have gotten their ass kicked on the wrestling. I think
we know they did.
They got their ass kicked by this guy.
I would say I didn't make the quite amount of money that you made, but I did well in a lot of the wrestling betting. So yeah, they and I was using free money too. I was using the money that they gave me to win money.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it did not go well for them for a while. But I did notice that they are no longer taking. Somebody else mentioned that too. Hey, do you guys know that? My book, are they still sponsor for you guys? They're not taking wrestling action anymore. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't look like they are anymore. So, I don't know. Yeah, probably didn't go well. And if you're not making money and you're a sports book, then you get rid of that because that's a bad way to operate a business. So,
no more free plays, and they don't do like any promos anymore. Like
it's been pretty quiet on the MyBookie front for a while.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on over there.
A bill came, a quarterly statement came out, and they went, oh, okay. Well,
I better pull my money out of there, huh?
Yeah, it might not be. I don't know.
Might not be the worst idea.
Cause a Great Depression. Don't all do it all at once, but maybe over the course of the next few days. Because trust me, Joe, I have another sports betting website and/or app in the next couple of days that I think you're going to have a much better investment.
Oh well, you know what? Then fuck my bookie. Why are we even talking about him?
Exactly. Screw him.
Yeah,
it's all about pending. Inserts name here once contracts are signed. Yes. I'll put an editing note for myself here. Right. Anyway, all right, so that is Clash at the Castle. But that is not it for WWE this weekend. They also, on September 4th, have the WWE NXT Worlds Collide show, which I'm honestly looking forward to. This looks like a hell of a show. It's happening from the Performance Center. So, ironically, all the UK wrestlers are coming to America to perform in the Performance Center. WWE is going to the UK. They fired pretty much all the wrestlers from that region, and then anybody that maybe would be there, they're kind of just using Drew and then Gunther as kind of like, hey, Europe, here you go, here's European guys. But NXT Worlds Collide, this is essentially going to be the end of NXT UK. I mean, they are unifying the women's titles, they're unifying the main title, they're unifying the tag team titles. And it looks like a pretty fun show on paper, though. What are your overall thoughts on Worlds Collide before we go match by match here?
It's interesting from a couple different aspects. Number one, it looks like a much, much better on paper lineup than the typical NXT 2.0 quarterly PEL, whatever you want to call their quarterly big events. The other thing is, I'm curious to see the potential directions that they take NXT 2.0 following this show. And the reason I say that is Triple H waited really until after SummerSlam to start putting his stamp on Raw and SmackDown, right? It was kind of a holding pattern for that week or two and through SummerSlam where, he did a couple of things, but largely kept the booking intact. And now the shows are firmly his vision, Raw and SmackDown, in a lot of different ways. So I'm curious if once we have Worlds Collide behind us, NXT UK is folded into NXT, the titles are merged, if NXT 2.0 sort of takes on a slightly different direction, more in the vision of what Triple H wants. You have to remember, Triple H, NXT 2.0 rather, is a glowing rainbow-colored sign of Triple H's failure. Okay? They fired this guy, they got rid of the black and gold, and they totally revamped their developmental to get away from the way that Triple H was running it. So it's a constant reminder to him that he got his ass kicked by Dynamite. So once this show is done and in the books, I'm curious if they make some changes, or if he makes some changes to NXT 2.0 and presents it more in his vision, or if he remains hands off and lets the people down there, I guess Shawn Michaels and everybody else who are running that thing, just continue to do their own thing. So I want to keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, because I'm with you that this definitely feels, and I don't know if this is like a one-time thing, but it does feel like a little bit of NXT. Like I don't know if it's going to be dramatic, because I think, and Triple H himself has had to like eat crow on that. I think at one point he had to be like, yeah, no, it's like a new vision for NXT. It's a vision that, builds for the future. But goddamn well, he doesn't want
He had to say that.
Right, exactly. He doesn't want the rainbow-colored Raw with a bunch of, rainbow-colored NXT with a bunch of really crappy wrestlers that have no business being in the ring. Like, that's not his vision for NXT. It's probably not what he wants out of NXT. I mean, maybe it was good to kind of do that change in some ways, but I do wonder if slowly but surely you're going to start seeing the integration. And you see it here. You got Tyler Bates. You got, Blair Davenport from NXT UK. You got Miko Santamura from here. This is not just the blind leading the blind like NXT 2.0 was for a long amount of time, where it was just, you had your Roderick Strongs, and at one point you had your Ciampas or whatever, but for the most part it was just like absolute nobodies facing each other. People that have no business, a lot of them, no business in the ring, or still kind of learning the ropes or whatever, facing one another. You don't have that, and you definitely do not have that on this show, and I think it's going to be interesting to see if this is what NXT becomes moving forward, because now I think this is a good vision for NXT. We were on record too during a lot of the NXT period saying, hey, I don't know if it's a great idea for it just to become an indie super show. Like, I think you do also have to try to be, at the same time you're spending all this money on this performance center, you do want to develop wrestlers from the ground up too. You do want to take, college athletes and these people and want to make them great, wrestlers. And I do think that this show is a pretty good representation of what I would call like a really goddamn good NXT. Like, if this is what NXT is going to be moving forward, count me in. I'll be very, very excited about it, because I think it is a nice blend of performance center people, off the street people, but then also established good wrestlers from all across the world. So NXT North American title match: Carmelo Hayes defending the title against Ricochet. Which that sounds awesome. I hate to see that Ricochet's got to do this, but hey, if it's something that he can do and it's something he could sink his teeth into, and I get to watch Ricochet wrestle and not just be a dork, I'm in, because he's still pretty damn good.
That's going to get time, and they're going to be told to go out there and kill it.
Yeah.
And to me, okay, that match is interesting because it's a big match for Carmelo Hayes. But here's the thing: I think it's more for Hayes. Everybody thinks that the match is going to be great. I don't think it's a necessarily a big deal if they go out there and have a great match, because that's what everyone expects to happen. For Hayes, the danger here is having a disappointing match and not meeting the expectation. Because if you can't have a great match with Ricochet in that kind of spot, I think that says more than having the great match with Ricochet. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It absolutely does, because, it'll be more of a, okay, maybe this guy is not the goods. Like, he was in there with one of the better wrestlers of this generation, and he just didn't deliver. He didn't, he didn't rise to the occasion or whatever. And that I see what you mean. That will be interesting to see. I tend to think that this will probably be pretty damn good, but I'm with you. It'll be fun to kind of check out and see if he can rise to that occasion. I think he can, and I'm pretty excited for it. But I guess we'll find out on Sunday. NXT Tag Team titles, NXT UK Tag Team titles, Elimination Fatal 4-Way Unification match. So we're bringing the titles together. Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs versus the Creed Brothers versus Pretty Deadly versus Gallus.
Yeah, I mean, bunch of teams, 4-way. I'm sure it'll have a lot of action. The Creed brothers are still coming along. I like their chances much better now that Vince McMahon is gone because he hates the amateur pro wrestling gimmick. Gallus, in this case, is Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. Joe Coffey is generally the singles wrestler of the group. Pretty Deadly, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Pretty Deadly. I know a lot of people are.
They're funny, but like I don't really want funny. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm a loser. I just want good wrestlers.
my current tastes in wrestling, and you know everybody's taste evolves and shifts. I'm into ass kickers right now, man. I want to see more wrestlers who I think would be able to clear out a bar like by themselves. I want more Stan Hansens. I want more Bruiser Brodies, Pretty Deadlies. Look, I get it. They're heels, and that's kind of the idea. But, right now and what I want in my wrestling, I don't know. I want guys who can beat people up. I don't know. And I don't get they're more of a, they're heels. They, and their gimmick is fine for that, but they don't blow me away in the ring either. So I don't know. They don't do much for me. And Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs are like a cosplay version of the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, they come across like a manufactured, try-hard version of an ass kicker 70s.
Yeah, like dollar store ass kickers. They're not quite.
They're not authentic.
Right.
They don't come across authentic. Like I don't buy them, and that's what they're supposed to be. So, and that's a big problem with WWE and specifically NXT. Everybody's playing a role, and it's hard for me to get me to buy into those roles.
Right.
There's a lack of authenticity.
Right, because like they like if you've never seen these guys, they'll roll up their sleeve. They actually think they literally didn't on TV. They have a bar fight.
Yes,
this is a long time ago, I think, but it's like they're like country guys and they're at a bar, and then like one of them's got like a plaid shirt on, the other guy's got like a trucker hat on, and they're just drinking domestic beers, and then someone starts and they clear out the bar. But like you said, they're not actually guys that can clear out a bar. They just like had a vignette where they did like a weirdly lit quote unquote bar that they cleared out, and it's like no, just be ass kickers. You don't have to. It's just I'm right with you. I agree. They're a dollar store version of ass kickers, or like you said, a try hard version of ass kickers. When in actuality, just be ass kickers. It's probably not that hard.
Basically, everybody in NXT just comes across.
They're just caricatures. Yeah, they're just like a caricature of what you want. Like you're like, oh, that's kind of a cool gimmick, and then you're just like, oh, it's just like so on the nose. Whatever it is, it's just on the nose, and the most. With
bad porn level acting and it's why I hate that show. Like that show stinks because it's just everything about it's inauthentic. But that's what WWE is now, and that's what they want. They're not, they're trying to create television stars as opposed to pro wrestlers. And this is not a revelation to anybody listening to this, and it's been this way for years now. And I think that's where a lot of the misunderstandings to come in when it comes to WWE developmental. They probably don't care that Lash Legend is an atrocious pro wrestler. They just want her to figure out a character and be presentable for TV and hopefully be passable in the ring. Yeah. That's all. And this is why it's hard to buy into this idea that Raw and SmackDown are so drastically improved and whatnot. Well, I don't know. I still see the Miz spinning and pointing. I don't know. I just they've eliminated a lot of the very worst aspects of Vince McMahon's wrestling. But at the end of the day, it still feels and looks like Vince McMahon's wrestling with slightly longer matches and slightly less embarrassing comedy.
We have the NXT Women's Tag Team titles here. It's Katana Chance and Kaden Carter defending their titles against Doudrop and Nikki Ash.
Doudrop and Nikki Ash showed up on NXT this week as a surprise, and there was this great camera shot of a fan with his jaw literally on the floor at the sight of Doudrop.
The sight of Doudrop and Nikki Ash.
And I have to tell you, it just really hammered home how different I am from these kind of fans. I couldn't imagine a universe where I'm like shocked and excited and can't believe my eyes.
Is that Nikki ASH?
Right.
But it's what? Yeah, you're right. It's a different audience. Yeah.
It's a completely different, like, I don't even know that we enjoy the same thing. Like, I know it's all pro wrestling, but it's just how I wouldn't, just the fact that someone could be that excited about Doudrop.
Right.
Like,
yeah, we all watch pro wrestling, but like you're excited about Doudrop, and I'm peering over to my TV right now, and I'm watching Terry Funk versus Giant Baba from like 1981, and they're just beating the fuck out of one another, and I'm like, fuck yeah, that's the rules. Like, it's a different, and you're excited about Doudrop and Nikki Ash arriving at the Performance Center. Like, it's a different, it is the same thing kind of, but it's not. It's just, yeah, we have levels.
So when I think about that, it's like, okay, now I understand why people really do think that Raw and SmackDown are like great right now.
Yeah.
Like, because they're just in a totally different universe than I am. Like, in what they're looking for in their pro wrestling, what they enjoy in their pro wrestling, and fucking good for them. Rich, I wish I could be that excited about Doudrop. I wish I wasn't this cynical. It might be nice to be that excited about Doudrop.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Showing up at the fucking wherever are they in the Performance Center, or are they still in that fucking...
I believe they're in the Performance Center, yes.
They're not in that Capitol fucking...
I actually don't know. It might be. Maybe they're in the Capitol Wrestling Center. I think the Capitol Wrestling Center has been closed, but I'll be honest, Ernest, I don't remember what the difference in the Capitol Wrestling Society and the Performance Center is. But
they're in the Performance Center, by the way, to solve that mystery.
Right.
Why the fuck is Grayson Waller still in NXT? That guy belongs on the main roster. Why is he there?
I don't know.
He's like 45 years old. He's great. All right, he's 32, but he's 32.
That's old in professional wrestling years. That's you're losing some prime years there.
He's exactly what they look for. I mean, fuck. If wrestling was run like baseball and we're going to do Moneyball here, you'd get rid of The Miz and his 7-figure deal and you just replace him with Grayson Waller. Like if the Tampa Bay Rays were running WWE. Anyway, what else is on this show?
Also, a very random match that you, like, in 20 years, people will look back and go like, huh, all right, that was a match. NXT Women's Title, NXT UK Women's Title unification match. Miko Satomura versus Mandy Rose versus Blair Davenport, the former Bea Priestley, if you're not aware of. If you're not an NXT UK viewer, you might not know who Blair Davenport is. That is the former Bea Priestley. So it's Bea Priestley, Mandy Rose, and one of the greatest Joshi wrestlers ever, Miko Satomura, in a match. I am fascinated by this match. Fascinated.
Hey, good for Blair Davenport getting shoehorned into this. Why is she even here in this match?
I don't know, but yeah, because the main event is just title for title, but somehow Blair Davenport's in here, so someone doesn't want to get pinned, and Blair's got to pin someone. I don't know. Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know who leaves here. Mandy Rose pins Miko Satomura to win the unified titles? Like, what?
I mean, they've been pushing Mandy Rose as like the top act on this brand since it was rolled out, and they're still doing like 0.13s. They're never going to give up on Mandy Rose.
So Mandy's pinning like Blair Davenport, right? Is that how we're getting around this?
You probably sniff this one out. Yeah, you probably.
Because I think that they thought the optics of Mandy Rose pinning like Miko Satomura was a little too much. So they're like, just throw Blair Davenport. Yeah, I get. Yeah. Then the main event. It'd be a very, very interesting match to watch this one. NXT title, NXT UK title unification match. Tyler Bate versus Braun Breaker.
Okay, so I've been very outspoken about my thoughts on Braun Breaker. I mean, everything about him screams future star until the bell rings. I think he loses all of his charisma bell to bell. Because obviously he still has like less than 30 matches under his belt, and he just doesn't know how to project while the match is happening yet. And, he's green. He's a rookie. And that's his big weakness. And I'm waiting for Braun Breaker to grab a match by the fucking throat, like all the great ones eventually learn to do. And he hasn't learned to do that yet, to just grab a match by the throat and take command of a match and project and look like a fucking star in there. And he'll be in there with Tyler Bate, who has been in witness protection for the last 2 years. But he's, presumably still a great wrestler. I have no doubt that Tyler Bate can drag Braun Breaker to a great match. Braun Breaker is good enough to have a great match with Tyler Bate. Okay, we'll see. But what I really want to see here is for Tyler Bate not to inadvertently eat up Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is the guy that they care about here. Okay? And I am still waiting to see Braun Breaker, like I said, grab a match by the throat and own the room.
Be the guy. Be the reason a match was
Yes.
great. Be the guy that when the match is over, you go, holy shit, that dude, that's a different level.
Yeah.
That guy's a different animal.
When
Tyler Bates done that in his career many times.
Yeah. When I am excited to come on this show and talk about a Braun Breaker match after I see one, which I have yet to feel that way, that's when I will change my stance on Braun Breaker. Right now, I remain hesitant to give him now he'll get every chance. That's not a question. He'll get every opportunity to be a major star, and he'll probably get pushed like one. But I remain hesitant on his upside until I need to see him do the things that I just talked about, and I have yet to see him do that.
Yeah, so it's a weird show. It's an interesting show. I like on paper, I think that there's some good stuff in there. I'm not sure if everything's great. There's some. I mean, Carmelo Hayes and Ricochet, I think will be pretty solid. The main event, I'm fascinated. I'm more interested in the show than I think it's going to be a great show. I just think it's a really interesting look at what is because now this will be the end of NXT UK and presume we now know that NXT Europe's coming down the line at some point, but I don't know. It's going to tell you a lot about what NXT is going to be moving forward. I think it's going to be a very interesting show to kind of study and okay, is this now with Paul Levesque now more in charge? Does he take back the reins of NXT? Does he let it continue kind of to be what he is? Does he kind of go hands off because he's got to worry about Raw and SmackDown now? Is it all Shawn Michaels? I'm very, very fascinated to see the look and the feel of this match and this show and everything here versus what it has been, for the last couple of months or the last year, basically, of NXT 2.0. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But yeah, that is
the more I look at the show, the more it really needed that Carmelo Hayes Ricochet match. I think the Carmelo Hayes Ricochet match, I mean, on a packed weekend, has a chance to steal the entire weekend. That could be the best match for the weekend, and it's an all-out weekend. I mean, it's not impossible. I don't think it ultimately will be. I'm sure something on All Out will be better than this, but it wouldn't stun me at all if this is one of the better matches of the entire weekend. And, now that I'm looking at the whole card, it isn't quite as strong as I thought it was. They really crammed a lot of people onto this thing that they didn't need to cram onto it. But I think that Katana Chance Caden Carter match with Doudrop and Nikki Ash has a chance to be bad.
Oh, it doesn't have a chance to be bad. It's going to probably be bad.
I don't like that team. And, Doudrop and Nikki Ash are solid veterans and everything, but I don't like the NXT team. And, so I don't know. I think it'll be, I think it has a chance to be better than the recent NXT 2.0 quarterly shows. And there is a lot of intrigue of what that brand kind of looks like coming out of it. It might just stay the same, but but we'll see.
Yeah, this will be a very telling show for what the future is going to be of the brand. So there you go. That is a loaded weekend. You got Worlds Collide, Clash of the Castle, GCW shows, Black Label Pro, AAW, Freelance Wrestling, and of course AEW All Out. So a lot of stuff going on this weekend. So plenty of stuff to watch. And we'll have a lot of coverage of that all at voicesofwrestling.com. Previews and reviews of a lot of those shows as well. So let's get finally to the NWA 74th Anniversary Spectacular. Last week, Joe, I went on a big rant about how we will always cover the National Wrestling Alliance, that we've covered it from day one, and we're always going to cover it. Maybe let's not cover the NWA anymore? We have to?
We have to.
What if they do another? I found, because you know how we always, and I think I said this last week too, that usually when I'm done with an NWA show, like on paper, we're like, oh my god, this show's kind of lame, we laugh about it or whatever. But when it's done with the show, I'm usually like, you know what, I kind of enjoyed that. I did not feel like I wasted those 3 hours, or you know what, not everything was great, but it was a fun, enjoyable. I wasted these 7 hours. I'm never getting these 7 hours of my life back. On my deathbed, I will remember these 7 hours of my life. Watching Kratos and the Pope versus Aaron Stevens and Rodney Mack and going, what am I doing with my life? I'm watching EC3 and Tom Latimer, and there's Control Your Narrative. Scion's in the ring again. Why is this happening? What is going on? This was I don't know about you, I thought this was both brutal shows. These shows fucking stunk.
I thought night 2 was better than night 1, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that.
Low bar. That bar is almost scraping on the ground, but I would agree with that.
Well, look, there's way too many matches. That's number one. And I said this last week. It's hard to defend at Billy for blowing off the Empower show from the standpoint of it's all these extra heads to book and then you end up losing money. When then you go out there and book 31 matches over 2 days with this gigantic, unnecessarily
had to be at least
gigantic
80
roster.
People. Had to be 80 people in this locker room.
At that point, just do another Empower then. Because it probably would have drawn better than 2 of these shows.
And it would have at least broken these up. I mean, I think that's what ultimately when it was done, it was just like, holy shit, I do not need 2 nights of NWA back to back. Like, I just do not need that. Like, when I'm usually done with an NWA pay-per-view or when I watch a bunch of NWA shows, I'm like, you know what, that because it's like 3 hours, it's neat and tidy, everyone's pretty professional for the most part. It looks good, it usually sounds pretty good. And that's fine for 3 hours. That's fine for 3.5 hours. It is not fine for 7 hours. I mean, every little part of NWA just starts wearing on you. 6 hours into watching them back to back. I mean, we don't need 2 nights. They'd never need 2 nights. I hope if they go back to this, they do something different on the other night. Like you said, the good thing about Empower was it felt like 2 different shows. Yes, it was the same building. Yes, it was still the NWA. But when you watched Empower, that felt like Empower, and the NWA 73rd felt like the NWA 73rd. This was just like one long, miserable, never-ending 7-hour block of wrestling that I never want to revisit ever again. I never want to think about it ever again.
What's wrong with like 7-8 matches on each night? I mean,
and then and this is the thing. Like, you already book 31 matches. You said.
I don't know if it was really 31. It was.
It wasn't far off.
Hold on, I'll count them up. But
pre-show. Are you counting pre-show as well?
I'll count everything up. Okay. Yeah, it's just.
It wasn't. But it wasn't just the matches. It was that like a match would happen. And then it'd be like, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Cardona. And I'm like, I don't need to hear a promo. I'm good. And Matt Cardona would come in the ring and cut like a 8-minute promo. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then like, ladies and gentlemen, Barry Windham. I'm like, I don't need to hear from Barry Windham. Like, let's go. Wildfire, Tommy Rich. I'm like, that.
You know what? That wasn't the problem though. Like, you could have brought out all those old NWA names if you had 7-match cards.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I didn't care that the guys were talking. I cared that the guys were talking, and I'm like, there's 11 more matches. Let's go. Like, I don't. Thank you, Barry Windham. I'm glad that you're happy to be back in the NWA. But like, we got like 9 more matches to go, man. Let's get on. I'm not mad at Barry Windham. But like, I'm just thinking, oh my god, why they're spending 20 minutes to have J.J. Dillon and Wildfire Tommy Rich stuff, and like you have 9 more matches to go. Like, well, who's counting this match? And then I just realized, they're just going to have these things go on forever. Like, they don't care. Because I'm thinking, man, they're getting low on time here. And then I look at the video file. I'm like, no, they have like 2 more hours left. They're just going to go 3.5. Okay, that's fine. I thought maybe neat and tidy 2-hour shows, maybe keep it under 3. No, they were just like, if we got all the time in the world, guys, go out there, cut your promo, do your match, do your thing. Like, just too many promos, too many angles, too many things. Which is fine if you have 7 matches, but yeah, you had 31 matches or whatever the fuck. It just
I just counted 32, but it could have been 31. I'm not counting them again.
Who cares?
The point is,
sure enough. Yeah, great.
There was over 30 matches on between these 2 shows.
And what? 2 of them were good, maybe 2. 1.
I mean, on night 2, I legitimately enjoyed Colby Corino, Caprice Coleman. Believe it or not, I enjoyed the Battle Royal for what it was. I thought it was a
spectacle. It was a cool spectacle.
I thought it was good for a Battle Royal and well booked for a Battle Royal. I liked Homicide versus Kerry Morton on the first night, and Homicide versus Ricky Morton on the second night was fine for a 60-year-old Ricky Morton.
Yeah, I like both the Homicide matches. Those are among my favorites.
I liked Nick Aldis, Flip Gordon. I thought they worked hard and had a good match. And I liked Camille Max the Impaler was okay. And Trevor Murdoch Tyrus, I don't think it was good, but I think that it was way better than I thought it was going to be, even though Tyrus was predictably pretty bad, if that makes sense.
And
that's
the
what
heel-face dynamics made absolutely no sense the entire time.
The heel-face dynamics made no sense, and they flip-flopped about 9 different times.
I was convinced several times. All right, Trevor's turning heel, and then they're like, Trevor did it in front of the hometown crowd. I'm like, all right, I don't know now. I thought he was a heel, but I guess he's not. I guess he did it.
Well,
in front
then
of the hometown crowd.
he brought the weapon in after the ref bump, but then he cut the babyface promo, and then Tyrus flipped the table over and like acted like a heel. So, yeah, that predictably was all a mess from a babyface heel standpoint. They didn't do the title change, at least. Night one, I thought, felt like it was all 7 hours all in one. I didn't like night one at all.
Oh, night one was atrocious. Night one was atrocious.
Night two had enough decent stuff.
I would have been okay if I just skipped night one entirely. And just watched night two, I'd probably come on the show with a very different tone and be like, yeah, it was a pretty good show. You know, not bad, not great, but not bad. I thought night one was atrocious. I thought most of the stuff on night one was terrible.
Night one wasn't good. I just, it's too much, and you don't need all these people. Maybe they're just trying to make everyone happy and book everybody, but, EC3 and then Control Your Narrative invades with like the Control Your Narrative B team. It's not even like it's not Strowman and the top guys. It's like the Control Your Narrative B team, attacking Latimer on night two. But I don't know. This, they were a struggle to get through. You just wanted these shows to end very badly.
Yeah.
Too long, too many matches. They had their taping, and we know that the main event for Hard Times is going to be Murdoch versus Cardona. So maybe they just course correct here and put the title back on Cardona, since he probably wasn't supposed to drop it to begin with, but he got hurt.
Right.
So, Cardona probably wins it back from Trevor Murdoch, who I guess is now a babyface again. Yeah, I don't know. Just you could feel the excitement, Rich.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I do not want to go match by match. I mean, we could, but
no.
God, I'd rather die than go match by match. I mean, that'd be horrendous radio. Like, what are your thoughts on Chris Adonis versus Odinson? Like, we're not doing that. That's a terrible thing. We're not doing that. All you need to know, night one was atrocious. The best match of night one, far and away to me, was Homicide versus Kerry Morton. I didn't think anything else. The Beazle Bubs Bedlam 6-man tag was an embarrassment. Like, guys doing a plunder match, but they have no business doing a plunder match. Just awful. Fucked up everything.
Anything with the ill-begotten.
Yeah,
is just...
nearly killed a guy. I think Alex Taylor nearly died on the show.
Yeah.
Because guys are trying stuff that they have no business trying.
That's that gif of the blown spot that's going around. And
right, where they're like, hey, this actually turned out to be a good spot. And it did. Like, it ended up being like a kind of like a springboard moonsault.
Arabian press.
Yeah, like a Arabian springboard. But it wasn't. No, it was supposed to be like a back body drop and then the guy, or a superplex. And the things got so fucked up that Alex Taylor nearly landed on his neck and died. So that wasn't good. Yeah, that match fucking atrocious. Tables match, Bully Ray and Mike Knox. I mean, the crowd liked it, but
it was. You know what? Bully Ray
was fine. Bully Ray was fine.
That was a professional match,
yeah.
And Bully Ray, the fans were into Bully Ray. So, one thing about that guy, even when he was in ROH and everybody was sick of him, always got good heat. I know that he's a meme now with the heat, but he always got good heat in ROH.
Oh, people care about him. People care about him.
And people cared about him here. The Cardona thing with Rolando Freeman was silly. He picked his handpicked opponent. He picked the worst guy on the roster and then lost to him. Yeah, I don't know. This is it's not good, Rich.
It's
the
not
NWA
good
right now.
It's not good. Camille and Taya Valkyrie was Taya is so bad. We've been banging that drum for a while, and other people have to catch up. Like, she's fucking awful, because I saw Camille have good match against Max the Impaler. That was fine. It was okay. I've seen Camille have a lot of good matches.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Taya Valkyrie have a lot of good matches lately, and this was real bad.
Yeah, and it was like 20 minutes.
18:58.
Ugh.
After you've been watching the NWA for 3 hours and 10 minutes, and then you get Camille and Taya Valkyrie for almost 20 minutes. I mean, good God, guys.
This Billy has the nerve to go on podcasts in the lead up and say that the NWA is the closest thing in pro wrestling to MMA.
Oh.
And the closest thing to sports. He has the nerve to say
William
that on
Patrick.
podcast.
No.
I mean, come on, guy. I want this to be straight-laced, something different kind of program, but it's not. It's really bad.
Yeah, it's just
so hard to watch. So
I was impressed by your Mercurio, your Florence, Italy model.
Mercurio,
yeah, and Jake Dumas, the magician, magic guy. That's kind of cool.
Who did not cut his assistant in half again.
No, yeah, Christy Jane's still in one piece, unfortunately. So
bullshit, yeah. I say.
Scion wrestled like 9 times.
Yeah.
Pretty empowered. Are you on board with them yet? I think they rock.
No, I think they
come on.
No.
The Hex, they got Street Fight ready. They had different gear. They had gloves.
Oh, did you see this at the taping? Aaron Stevens has introduced a new question mark.
Great.
Yeah, it's Rodney Mack doing the question mark gimmick.
So you're unmasking him? Well, is it like very clearly Rodney Mack?
Yeah, it's Rodney Mack with a chain around his neck and fucking Rodney Mack.
That's fine.
But look, that's like, isn't that a little sacrilegious? I mean, I know it sounds silly. It's just because it was a silly gimmick and everything. But the guy died.
Yeah,
he was kind of like when you think of the Lightning One era of the NWA. One of the first guys you think of is question mark and his previous personas, and he was a major part of this whole thing. He passes away, and I don't know. Now you're kind of just like, I'm sure he wouldn't care, like, because it was a comedy gimmick. I'm a little weird about it, Rich.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I get your weirdness. Yeah, I don't know that I care, but I get like, yeah, that's a gimmick that might just.
And I know
best.
Aaron Stevens was close to him, and and I understand all that. And I have to see how it actually plays out on. I haven't watched the episode of TV yet, but I don't know. This company stinks. It really does stink.
And this was the night too that I don't know what it was, but like normally, like the commentary doesn't. Like Tim Storm's always really good. Velvet is Velvet. She's not good at all.
Velvet doesn't shut the fuck up.
She just says, "Oh no!"
It's not even that. She does Galley's job. She was
doing play-by-play at one point too. I was like, "The Velvet, Galley's got it." Like,
you have 2 people calling the action.
Yeah.
You don't, Velvet. We don't. That's not your role.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when she first started doing commentary, she never talked.
Yeah. But now she's feeling herself. She's got some confidence, and now she's talking. So
now she just doesn't shut up, and it's so there's constantly 2 people talking at once because Galley's doing his job and Velvet is also doing Galley's job all at the same time.
Right, and Tim Storm
barely
says anything. Yeah.
Yeah, and and then she's commenting on what she's like. She never shuts up. So the commentary was bad. Yeah. Everything about.
Well, I thought Galley was bad too because he was just in very yell mode. This entire weekend. A little too yelly for me. I mean, he was yelling about everything. I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna do it. And I'm like, all right, well, chill out, man. Like, it's Jake Dumas. It's Jake Dumas and Mercurio. Like, calm down, buddy. Like,
someone came in our Discord and said, who doesn't watch NWA, and they were like, who's the Mauro Ranallo play-by-play guy?
Yeah, that's what it was.
And I'm thinking, wait a minute, Galley isn't like that. But then I'm like, but tonight he is.
He's just yelling the whole time, and that's not usually him. He's usually pretty, like, he usually gets up for the big moments, and that he kind of takes you on that journey with him. But he was clear. I don't know if he was instructed to do this.
No, I know what was happening. He's trying to talk over Velvet.
Yeah, maybe. So he thought
he's trying to talk over Velvet because Velvet is busy, like, calling the action. Like, he's trying to talk over her. She needs to be quiet and let him call the matches, and then her and Tim Storm, their job is to chime in.
All right.
She's trying to do both jobs, and I think that's making him yell.
I also wonder if he was nervous too because of what happened on night 2 when he was as if we needed more. So we're like 2 hours and 45 minutes into this fucking thing, and you're like, oh dear God, like here we go. And then Joe Galley gets in the ring and he goes, I'm going to do something very interesting tonight. Only William Patrick Corbin knows what I'm going to do, but the love of my life, please get in this ring. And this woman who knows what's coming. And I hate to laugh at this guy because, like, I had a very awkward and weird proposal too, and it's never easy to do it. But I think my man may have missed on this one. think we might have to redo this at some point because he asked, I believe her name is Samantha, right?
I don't remember.
His the love of his life, Samantha, for her hand in marriage, and she went, yeah.
She did not look
Samantha, will you marry me? Yeah. She just got.
I don't think she was very happy about.
No, would you be? Come on.
Yeah, about being proposed to on NWA 74.
Wrestling at the Chase.
Wrestling fans. She didn't look like it was the happiest moment of her life.
No.
She didn't do the gimmick where she covers her mouth and nose with her two hands.
No, she just stared at him. I was thinking, man, that car ride coming home is gonna be like, hey, honey, so.
Velvet Sky was in tears.
She's always crying.
Yeah.
She's like, Joe, that was so romantic. And I was like, it really wasn't.
No, it wasn't romantic.
It was uncomfortable. That's what it was. I was just.
It really was very.
I was like, I don't know if Joe's making it through the night. Like, I wonder if that car ride. Like, what is that car ride going to be like? I hope they have a hotel that's in like walking distance to. Because if they have to get in a car and talk like in silence for 20 minutes, it's not going to go well.
Is this the in public and then the we'll talk about it later?
Oh yeah.
You know,
I saw that I went to a minor league baseball game and a guy proposed and it was that same thing. She was like, yeah, and then you could tell they sat down and she had like a look like,
yeah,
like, are you kidding me? At a fucking independent baseball game, independent league baseball game, like,
yeah,
I was supposed to tell my family that I got proposed to at a Schaumburg Boomers game. Like,
yeah. She basically got proposed to at Joe Galli's part-time job. That's how it went down for her.
She did not look like much of a wrestling fan either. So, this was deeply uncomfortable in all facets. So, congratulations to Joe Galli, and I think her name was Samantha. So,
he should have just done the Tony Dan. He's Samantha. Like if her name's
I don't know if her name's actually Samantha. So don't quote
Samantha.
Me on that. Don't quote me on that.
You know, that's what he should have just. He should have made it funny. You know?
And then I don't know if you saw, but he tried to post through it too. Because then he posted like she said yes, and it's a picture of her also not that happy.
Yeah, her with that.
It's not like the photo. She was like bawling and like smiles, and it's like, oh, okay, she was just nervous. No, the picture looks kind of the same. Like she's still kind of just like,
no, I legitimately I don't think she cracked a single smile during the whole ordeal. She just kind of had this gaped look. It was a proposal very fitting of the NWA 74 2-day pay-per-view event.
It was.
What it was.
A nice cherry on top for sure. So there you go. That was the NWA 74th. Let us never, ever speak of it again. All right, Joe, let's speak about the Royal Road, All Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah,
so we didn't talk about the Royal Road at all while it was going on, but I did catch up with the Royal Road. I watched the semifinals and the finals, and they had Takeo Omori doing kind of like a miracle run through the thing. And for people who don't know, it's kind of the hold on a second. Am I going to be coughing for 6 months now?
Yeah, because that last time it took you a very long time to stop coughing. So hopefully not, but maybe.
So the Royal Road is kind of like the equivalent would be the New Japan Cup for people who aren't familiar with All Japan. It's a single elimination knockout tournament, and the semifinals were Jake Lee versus Takeo Omori and Kento Miyahara versus Yuji Nagata. And Omori's kind of miracle run ended against Jake Lee in the semifinals in a very short match. Jake Lee took care of him rather easily in the semifinals to end his run, and then Kento Miyahara defeated Yuji Nagata, and they've been feuding with one another, and to the point where Miyahara, do you know Yuji Nagata's New Japan dance he does to the New Japan song?
Yeah.
That he usually does it when he's in another promotion and he's taunting that promotion. They'll play the New Japan song and Yuji Nagata will do his little New Japan dance. So Kento Miyahara has taken up doing they play the old All Japan television show music, and he does a little dance now to mock Yuji Nagata and his New Japan dance. And he did that after he won the tournament. But if people were wondering why they were seeing footage of Kento Miyahara doing this weird dance after he won the Royal Road, that's the reasoning behind that. He's mocking Yuji Nagata, who he beat in the semifinals. in what was shaping up to be a pretty good match. It fell apart towards the end. It got a little sloppy in the final, 90 seconds or so, which was unfortunate. But Miyahara defeats Yuji Nagata, and then it was Miyahara and Jake Lee in the final. And it was a good match. I can't call it great. Maybe 3.5, somewhere in that range. It's Jake Lee. He has, all of the things that we've talked about a million times once the bell rings with him. It's just there's something intangible missing there. It was funny because he's making his entrance into Korakuen Hall with his elaborate heel costume, the costume that he wears. And it's like there weren't a lot of people in Korakuen Hall. So he's coming out in this costume. And there was this one shot where there were no fans behind him. There were no visible fans behind him. And he's in this wacky costume. And what it reminded me of it was like showing up to a Halloween party really early and not knowing whether to take your outfit off or not. Because you're just like this goofball in a costume wearing
right.
a mask.
Or also you worry, was this actually a costume party? You're the first one, which is fine. But then you also
right.
oh, no.
That's how he came across. Like the guy who wasn't sure whether to take off his mask or not because he showed up to the Halloween party first. But, so the match was fine and Kento wins. So, and then, Suwama came out and confronted him and everything. But, it was fine. It's nothing anybody needs to go out of their way to see. And I did watch the entire show with the semis and the finals and nothing else of note really to discuss. As far as the N1 goes, we haven't been talking about this at all, and I really haven't had time. You've seen none of it.
I've seen none of it. I was too busy watching the fucking NWA. I really wish I caught up on other wrestling that wasn't the NWA, but we have a job to do. So no, I have not signed any of the N1 so far.
Yeah, so I only got through night 1, and I know that basically the finals are set. Night 1, though, is good because, everybody was in action. So I did get at least a taste so far of everybody's tournament. I did watch the big Jack Morris upset of Kaito Kiyomiya. Jack Morris is, he might be a dude. He might be a guy. They might have something.
I've heard some good stuff. I've heard a lot of people say, you know what? This guy might be a dude. So, yeah, that's interesting.
He looked okay, and, I guess they wanted to put him over Kiyomiya right away on the first night to establish that, hey, this is not just a jabron. This is someone that, we're going to take seriously. And Kiyomiya ended up getting through his block anyway. So, and I figured he would. And, I think he's going to win the whole thing. But, well, he's facing Hideki Suzuki. So who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
But the thing about Noah is this. And I'll be honest. I haven't talked to you about it yet, but I was going to talk to you about it. I was debating covering Noah, and I'm going to tell you why, but ultimately I did change my mind. Noah it's funny because I love the roster, and I love a lot of the people on the roster, and I think there's a lot of good matches, but Noah is what it is, and I'm kind of tired of having the same rants. They're a waste of time. Right. They're a waste of breath. They're going to continue pushing the old shooters. That's their business strategy.
Right, we've done that for a year and a half now. We've had these,
and it's so boring. Yeah. And I think the listeners are probably bored of hearing it, and I'm bored of having the same conversations. The promotion's a joke from that standpoint. It's just, and now you've got Katsuhiko Nakajima knocking out another wrestler. He knocked out Okada in, and which ended up screwing up the booking because the block was supposed to come down to Satoshi Kojima and let me see if I can grab it. It was going to come down to Kojima versus Kaito Kiyomiya, the B block, because Nakajima was probably supposed to be upset by Kinya Okada, which would have knocked Nakajima out, and then the block would have come down to the main event, which was Kaito Kiyomiya versus Satoshi Kojima. But because Nakajima accidentally knocked out Okada, he ended up getting the 2 points, and it eliminated Kojima. And it took away a lot of the drama that they had built to for the main event. The point here is this is the third person that Nakajima has knocked out legitimately. He knocked out Katoge at a press conference. Of course, he had the thing on the big show where he knocked out Endo after being uncooperative with him. And now he kicks Okada in the jaw and knocks him out legitimately 3 minutes into this N1 match. And I haven't seen the match, but I did see the footage, and I don't think he did it on purpose.
Oh, no. It's clear it was just a mistimed thing, but maybe you don't try to kick somebody as hard as you possibly can, and then, a slight mistime might, result in whatever.
But it's also the third time, and you lose benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Especially when you were uncooperative with Endo when you knocked him out. And I can tell you that there's wrestlers who think he did it on purpose. I don't agree based on what I saw, but that tells you right there that he has now established a reputation and he has lost benefit of the doubt because there's people in that locker room who think he did it on purpose. With the idea being that he was annoyed that he was supposed to get upset by the young boy, right? Or the young guy. I don't know if you want to technically consider him a young boy, Kinya Okada, but he was the pin eater in the block. Okay. And they think that he did it on purpose. And these are people close to him that are just like, that's Nakajima. He probably did. It's like, so he's earned this rep. And that doesn't help him when these older guys don't want to do business with him. Because they all think he's a little prick with a bad attitude. Because you know why? He's a little prick with a bad attitude.
He's a little prick with a bad attitude. Now he's a little prick with a bad attitude that's hurting his coworkers. So,
and then guys like Hideki Suzuki are like, I'm not losing to him. And guys like Fujita are like, if I lose to him, I'm going to embarrass him. This promotion is just a zoo, and it's just pointless to waste your breath on it. And, it's not going to change. And if this is what their fans want, then it's whatever, man. I can't critically analyze a promotion where it's like talking to a wall. It's never going to matter. I mean, I saw footage of the Kiyomiya Funaki match where Funaki did the job, but he made Kiyomiya give him his finish 3 times, and they smacked him in the face after the match. I mean, it's just a zoo, Rich. It's a fucking zoo. These old guys are just running the asylum, and it's just, but it's a shame because it's a hard-hitting promotion that has a style of wrestling I really like. But, it's just a disaster. So I don't know what's going to happen in the final. I thought Kiyomiya would win the tournament, but he's facing Suzuki. Is Suzuki going to do business? I mean,
yeah, it's always a question. Like, I mean, if I were booking it, yeah, he's doing business, but he's Hideki Suzuki, so you never know.
So
sometimes
I mean,
it doesn't work for him, brother. And he
or maybe Suzuki's just going to win the tournament.
Yeah, maybe he was just going to win it outright anyway, too. So who knows?
And Kiyomiya, I mean, he's wearing Muda colors. He's doing all of Muda's moves, and I don't know. It's not what I would do with the guy, but look, again, I'll keep watching Noah, and I guess we'll keep talking about it when there's stuff to talk about. But I don't know how you feel. I feel like it's pointless talking up a wall about. It's like WWE, right? Like, there's a little more juice now because it's Triple H is there, and maybe things will be different. But we threw our hands eventually at WWE and said, why are we taking time to seriously analyze a promotion that's impossible to analyze? So we pushed it to the 3rd hour and we treated it like the joke that it was. It's kind of like, I feel very similar about Noah. For different reasons. It's a joke for different reasons.
Right. I'm with you that I think that it's largely like I've been uninterested in talking about Noah for a while because it feels like we're just having the same conversation over and over and over and over again. Like I said, it feels like a year and a half now we've had this conversation. And I think the problem is the highs in Noah are so good. Like when Noah hits and it works with our sensibilities and it works with, something that it's awesome. It's like a really, really good, because you said the roster is great and the production is great. And it's never been easier than ever to watch Noah's stuff. And it looks tremendous. And Wrestle Universe is a great service to watch. So there's a lot of things on its side. But then, yeah, you get down to it and it's a lot of what we hate about modern Japanese wrestling. A lot of what we hate about Japanese wrestling, I mean, not even just modern stuff. Like, there's a lot of same central figures of stuff that we've been complaining about since the show began, 10 years ago. Same guys that we're just kind of been down on, or guys that we haven't really loved, or guys that we don't think are really worth all the trouble, that are kind of the big players in this company. So the problem is they're the big players in the company, and we can keep having this conversation, but it's not like one day Noah's going to wake up and go, yeah, you know what, Muta, Fujita, Suzuki, you guys all got to hit the bricks. What are you guys doing here? Like, those guys aren't going away. They're not turning the whole thing over to Kano and Kiyomiya anytime soon. Like, that's just not going to happen. So we're kind of stuck with what we have right now, and it sucks because, like you said, there's a lot of this roster that's great, and there's a lot of Noah that I really, really do enjoy. But yeah, we end up kind of getting bogged down and having these same conversations about the same guys, and it's not going to change. So I guess, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say that I don't want to cover it, but it definitely is not ever top of mind. Like, I do watch a decent amount of Noah. I haven't been watching the N1 obviously because a lot of other stuff's been going on, but I always check in on Noah, and I think you probably do as well. But I think neither of us really feel like, there's been weeks where we probably could have talked Noah, but I'm just like, I don't know, what do you want to talk about? It's kind of, they have a big show. We'll talk about obviously any of their big shows, but kind of the day-to-day stuff is just, I don't know. It's just not that interesting to me.
I can't watch this promotion with a critical eye.
Right. I hate too much of these guys that are in charge. So
everything they do is wrong. I mean, I can't watch this promotion with a critical eye. It's just it's a zoo, and I guess, but I like the style of wrestling they present, and their roster blows away the All Japan roster.
Oh yeah. All Japan, like, I still mostly like everything that All Japan does in terms of booking, but the roster is getting dire. I mean, this
thin
is getting real thin. When I looked at that Royal Road, and there's a reason why I didn't watch much of the Royal Road, I was just like, oh wow, oh wow. Like,
All Japan reminds me of like Portland, where it's like it's a small roster first of all, and there's like a couple top guys who are really good, and then everything else, like you said, it's kind of getting dire.
Cyrus was a second round guy.
Hey, I like that Cyrus guy.
I don't mind Cyrus either, but
he's a change of pace at least.
Yeah, I agree, but like, that's where you're at. You're Taru is getting regular bookings. Like,
Gerard DiTrolio, he does point out that Omori, Nomura got COVID, so Omori probably was not planned to go to the semis. But I have to tell you that I thought that worked out pretty cool, because I thought it was interesting that Omori, a guy they haven't pushed in ages, it was not only in the semis, but was against Jake Lee, right? And it's kind of like this storybook.
Because he lost to Omori, lost to Nomura, right, in the second round, and then they pushed
Nomura got COVID, and
then they pushed Omori through. Okay.
But it's like this storybook older veteran that everybody likes, and the heel or whatever. So I thought it worked out nicely having him in that spot, and I thought the match was he beat him in like 2 or 3 minutes or something. So, the layout was perfect for Jake Lee to go through to the final and everything. And then of course Miyahara Nagata was a match that they were building towards all along. So, it's like the wrestling and the wrestlers are far superior in Noah, but it's just so frustrating to watch. Yeah. And I have to tell you, it's like a lot of times Noah can be very dry too. Like, I can only watch Hideki Suzuki clamp a side headlock on Masaki Mochizuki for so many minutes before I'm like looking at my phone, Kaz Fujita. So it's not like all the matches are winners, but when you have like Kano and Nakajima and somebody and kicking the shit out of each other, and Kiyomiya's an excellent wrestler, Go Shiozaki, and the old guys can have good matches against those guys, and sometimes even with each other, but it's all the other bullshit in that promotion. This is the conversation I didn't want to have. See, this is why I don't want to talk about Noah.
This might be the last one. Maybe this is the last one. Yeah, maybe
this
Noah.
I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, maybe Noah goes on the back burner for a little bit as we. It just seems like a promotion that's tough to just like completely separate from, because they are a player in the region. But yeah, I'm with you. It's like we end up just having the same conversation over and over and over again. We were getting that way with WWE, and that's why we stopped covering WWE.
That's why we stopped. Exactly.
It just got boring to have the same conversation over and over and over again. So yeah, I'm with you. So we'll keep that under advisement for the future, but for Noah. But there's a little check-in with All Japan and Noah, and that is it for this episode of the Flagship Podcast. As we said, again, This Sunday, about an hour after All Out, we are going to do instant reaction live. I will have live reports from the building. Joe will have watched it on pay-per-view, but we're going to do that for the $10 tier at Flagship, patreon.com, patreon.com/voices of wrestling, or voicesofwrestling.com/Patreon is how you can subscribe there. $10 tier. As we always say, you're going to listen to this. Most people, or now at this point, everybody's going to listen to this on September 1st. And that is a great time to subscribe to the Patreon. You're going to get the full month of content. You'll get the Thursday Dynamite reviews. You'll get the TV review roulette that you just wrote this week. You're going to get Match of the Week, which we forgot to talk about. A great, interesting Match of the Week this week. A great bit of old territorial business there with Otto Vons paying for the AWA title, or sorry, reportedly, allegedly paying for the AWA title, but a very interesting moment there in history. So there's, a little bit about that match and the background of that. As we said, the deep dive, a new deep dive coming very, very soon. A new episode of Goldberg 173 and 1. One of my new themed retro series coming up very soon as well. Have some details that I'll iron out about that. You'll know in a little bit. All the written content, everything else we do, flagshippatreon.com. Tremendous value for $5 and a very, very, very good value for $10 as well. Getting all the live content, getting all of the written content as well. So flagshippatreon.com, $5 tier or $10 tier. Patreon.com/voicesofwrestling, voicesofwrestling.com/Patreon. Also, voicesofwrestling.com for all the coverage of all the events going on this weekend. Voice of Wrestling Podcast Network, of course. Don't listen to just the Flagship. Plenty of other good stuff. Another good episode this week of Open the Voice Gate. Music of the Mat, one of my favorite podcasts that we do. 5-Star Match Game, always a fun one with Joe Gagney doing pro wrestling trivia as well. Plenty of great shows for you. You've got to be kidding me. TNA Retro, Shake Them Ropes. There's so many good things. Emerald Flow Show, if you want to hear more about All Japan and Noah, you got the Emerald Flow Show. We have a show about everything there over at the Voice of Wrestling Podcast Network. So make sure you subscribe to that on your podcast app of choice. And that's it. So for Joe, I'm Rich. We'll talk to you next time on the Flagship Podcast. Take care.
Gearheads know that some projects need so many parts, it feels like you need a whole storage unit just to store them. That's what eBay Motors' 122 million parts are for. Think of it as your virtual parts garage. They've always got the right fitment at the right prices. Use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.